Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Bikes for Death podcast. As always, my name is Patrick, and even though it's been a while, I am back, and I'm happy to be here, and I'm really happy about the episode that I have for y'all today, and that is with our first and second overall finishers at the first ever West Texas Showdown, Kyle Gilbert and Hannah Simon. Kyle was first to cross the finish line with a time of 2 days, 5 hours, and 44 minutes. And Hannah followed behind him with a finish time of 2 days, 16 hours, and 17 minutes. In total, we only had 3 people finish the showdown route. For the event itself, there was only a 32% completion rate. By the numbers, this was a very, very challenging race. And Hannah and Kyle should both be extremely proud of themselves for not only their podium position, but just for completing it, because for most people, that in itself was a huge challenge, as it was for them, I know. I talk about this a lot in today's episode, and so I won't gush too hard right now, but having them finish 1 and 2 on the podium was a huge moment for me. It was kind of a full circle moment. Hannah and Kyle both competed in my first ever event as a race director, which was the East Texas Showdown in 2021. Hannah shared first place and Kyle came in 6th. And since then, it's just been really awesome to watch them grow in the sport and as people. And Anyway, I gushed pretty hard in today's episode, so maybe I'll keep that under wraps for now. There's enough of that in today's episode, but yeah, man, this was a big, big deal. I'm sure I've talked about it ad nauseum on the podcast, but Big Bend is my favorite place on the planet, and anybody who goes quickly falls in love with it, and it's been my dream for the last 5 years to point the Texas Showdown Series west towards Big Bend, and it has been a very challenging road. It seemed insurmountable at times, and it took a lot of everything. It took a lot out of me. I had to put a lot of stuff on hold. If you ordered something from my shipping department, I apologize. If you're my kids, I apologize. If you're my girlfriend, I apologize. I had to put everything on hold, especially down towards the end. Over the last few months, it's been a real challenge, but I always knew that it would be worth it. I knew that I was sacrificing for something really great, and it also speaks to, I guess I should apologize to the audience, the podcast listener, because I also had to put the podcast on hold. I put everything on hold, and I put it all into not only just this event, but we threw Ride Your Damn Bike Festival up in Fayetteville, Arkansas in September, and then I quickly turned around and hosted Central Texas Showdown at the end of October, and then we had a month turnaround before West Texas Showdown, and shit got wild, man. Shit got real wild. But anyway, we're here now. All is well. The West Texas Showdown has come and gone. It was a just phenomenal success. Of course, there are things that we can and will do better, but I could not be happier with how year 1 went, and I couldn't be happier with our inaugural year 1 and 2, Kyle and Hannah. It was a beautiful moment. It is a beautiful moment, and that's what we're going to be talking about on today's episode. But first, let us take a moment to thank the people who made it possible, starting with our latest batch of patrons. And I have to give a shout out because even though I've been lying dormant for a little while, we do have some new patrons. So I really appreciate Dustin Merith, Indiana Scholes, who is out on his bike tour still. And we recorded an episode with him, and you can follow along on his journey. So Indy, we are wishing you well out there. And man, I appreciate your support. Also like to thank Manuel Bussy or Bussy and David Milam and Borja G. Thank y'all so much for signing up to be sustaining members of the Bikes for Death podcast. And if you would like to help produce this podcast, you can find out more over at patreon.com/bikesordeath. And I promise to put those monies to good work. I'm planning on ramping back up with all the podcasts. So we'll make sure your money goes to a good cause. And no sponsors on today's episode. This one's a freebie. But I will take this opportunity to highlight that registration is open for the 6th edition of the East Texas Showdown. This is the race that kicks off the Texas Triple Star, which I'm now calling the Triple Star instead of the Triple Crown. I just thought it was better out of respect for the OG Triple Crown to let them carry that moniker. And Star is just a nice tip of the old cowboy hat to the Lone Star State. But in our case, you have to collect 3 stars. And if you collect all 3 stars, or if you complete all 3 races in the same category in a calendar year, we have a very fancy, custom-made, handmade belt buckle by Kyle Gilbert, who is our overall first place West Texas Showdown winner and one of my guests on today's podcast. So if you fancy yourself a Texas Showdown Series belt buckle, it all kicks off at the Bullet Grill in Point Blank, Texas, between March 27th and 29th. Registration is open now. And if you're not familiar with the Texas Showdown Series, we always have a range of categories for you to choose from, competitive and non-competitive options. So kicking off with our competitive options, we have the 395-mile showdown option. If you're looking for something a little bit more reasonable, you can step down to the slowdown, which is 275 miles. We also have a non-competitive option, which we call the lowdown, that is 160 miles. And we have a group camp that is well stocked with good vibes, good food, and all the fun stuff. You can break that up into a 2-day or a 3-day trip, depending on how you want to do it. And new for this year, we are introducing gravel to the series. It's not gravel, it's gravel. And that is coming in the shape of the 69-mile gravel throwdown, which is going to be really unique. That is going to kick off at 8 a.m. on Sunday morning, and it's going to do a couple things. One, it's going to be another entry point into this sport. Maybe you have a significant other or a friend who wants to come hang out for the weekend, but appreciates a more modest mileage. This is a great activity, something for them to do. And also, it is not uncommon for us to have a decent amount of finishers from the slowdown and showdown field that are done by Saturday evening and Sunday morning, and they're twiddling their thumbs and looking for something to do. So now any showdowner and slowdowner that finish before Sunday at 7 a.m. can enter the gravel throwdown for free. That takes place on the 69-mile Death Star, which is part of the Showdown route. It's a 69-mile route comprised of like 3 different loops. It'll go in the exact same direction. We are going to have fresh-legged gravel cyclists going against tired, dirty, hungry, battered ultra cyclist, and I think it's going to be really fun, and I'm looking forward to it. And I also think it puts an interesting carrot out there for any showdowner and slowdowner to be the first to not only win showdown or slowdown, but then to also go and win first at the throwdown. I'm excited about this. It's been a long time coming, but now that the series is complete, it's time to roll out phase 2. And for phase 2, it's all about the gravel. Learn to say it. It's fun. You'll get used to it. I'm working on it. Oh, one more thing, and maybe most importantly of all, we wrap up the entire weekend with the Hoedown, which is well known to be the best finish line, award ceremony, and after party in the business. And I don't know if that's true, but I will say that we try our best, and we really try to hype up every single one of you, and we want to provide a atmosphere for y'all to come and hang out, welcome in other riders, hear stories, and soak it all in before you have to head back to work or wherever you head back to on Monday. Registration is open now. I hope to see you in the East Texas Piney Woods, but for now, it is time to get to my chat with Hannah and Kyle. But first, let's have my friend Miles Arbor kick it off with the Bikes for Death theme song.
You load up your bike, you ride away from home. You could be with your friends or you could be alone. You ride for a day or maybe more. You just love being in the great outdoors. Everything you need is strapped to your bars, including that new pillow you got from Santa Claus. applause. And then you think, oh shit, to yourself. You left that super lightweight tent on the living room shelf. Bikes. Oh, death. Bikes. Oh, death. Podcast.
Kyle and Hannah, welcome to the Bikes for Death podcast. You've both been on the podcast before, but this time together, it's excited to have both y'all. This is exciting. This is just exciting.
Yes.
Highly anticipated.
Yes. Bound to happen.
Inevitably 1-1.
That's right.
So, I mean, right off the bat, Kyle Gilbert, first place, first ever West Texas Showdown. Hannah Simon, first female, only female in the field, but probably more importantly, second overall at the first ever West Texas Showdown. So I could not be more excited about how this all went together. From an event perspective, we didn't have a single rescue driver pickup until 4 o'clock on the first day. I've never thrown a race where we had so few calls. And I mean, we're talking about Big Bend. And the racing was insane. We had some amazing times. Y'all's performances were mind-blowing. I couldn't fucking sleep. I was just dot watching all night. It was so great. How are y'all feeling about it?
I'm still on cloud nine. That was a super sick experience. I felt very strong and good, and I was proud of myself for that, just because it's 400 miles in Big Bend, and that can wear on you a lot. But yeah, chasing Dennis down throughout like almost the entire race and like trying to stay away from him and all that good stuff was something, I've never like fought for before. So that was a cool experience for sure.
Let me just tap into that real quick, because I would love to hear, I mean, you fought for it. Y'all, if y'all haven't watched the dots need to be rewatched for anyone listening to this, for both of y'all. Unfortunately, your dot fell off the map for a little while.
It did.
But I mean, you went out the gate strong and you pulled it out in the end. I mean, you never gave up. What were your goals, mentality going into it? Because it was clear you came on a mission.
Yeah, I was fresh off of Escape LA. Shout out to that race; it's super fun. I dropped out of it just because it was like really hard, and I felt a little unsafe at some point. So I was just like, I have West Texas coming up, and I want to make sure I'm good for that. So going to West Texas, I wanted to make sure I finish, because I don't like dropping out of races. Like, it's never fun. So I definitely had the goal of finishing first and foremost. And I wanted to go out and ride my mountain bike as hard as I could. And I love technical terrain, and that's a lot of what Big Bend is. So yeah, it was more of a challenge to myself and like racing myself and seeing how well I could withstand, a lot of effort throughout the day. And, just like seeing where I would line up in the field and seeing where I'd line up against people like Dennis, who I know are like physically stronger than me in some ways, but maybe had less of a bike to like handle the terrain that I'd ridden once before. So I had like a taste of what it was going to be like. I knew my mountain bike was going to be comfortable enough to like make it through most of it. But knowing I was going up against people like Dennis, and like he had a teammate there or something that I'm sure they were strong riders, but we're on gravel bikes. So it was like a test of the bikes and like a test of like endurance and grit and like seeing who can make it out on top, essentially. I
mean, it was a real battle.
It was
exciting,
and
it
had a little bit of everything. There was really technical trail and really fast gravel and fast roads and tailwinds and headwinds and all kinds of like different factors that went into it that made a gravel bike fast for sure. But I think the speed came from being able to go through the trails efficiently.
Tell me about Escape LA real quick. Was that part of your training block? I mean, it looked like a fun event, but you said you felt a little unsafe.
Yeah, I don't want to like downplay that race at all to make it seem like unsafe or dangerous or anything like that. It was just kind of just like case scenario. Escape LA in the general sense of a race in the season was just kind of like one I wanted to do for fun. I did Stagecoach 400 last year in April, and that was super. I guess it was this year, but that was super sick. I like first time riding my bike in California for real, and I wanted to explore more California. And specifically, I like riding in the city. We live in Austin. It's like a pretty dense city in some ways. So I wanted to get that experience of like riding through LA and then going up into the mountains and experiencing that. So it was just kind of, I mean, they don't label it as a race. It's more of like
a fun ride, but of course anyone who's on a tracker is going to race it. And I went out with that effort and like blasted through LA and got in the mountains and ended up by myself at night. And I was like on the single track, and it was like pretty sheer, like really exposed, and had some sharp corners that I had a few close calls on. I was just like losing my front tire and looking down to like 150-foot drop and just being like, like if I go down there, like there's a chance I don't get seen, or like luckily I had my tracker on me. And so that kind of peace of mind is like good enough to like, survive if I have to. But yeah, it was mainly being alone. Like I feel like if someone else was with me, I would have felt more safe to be like, if I fall, they're going to see it. And like, I'm down there or whatever. So I was also exhausted, and it was really hard. Yeah. So like, not only did I like kind of feel unsafe at some points, just being exhausted and by yourself in that kind of situation was a little too much for me. So
was that also the first time you'd raced since Tour Divide? Because
yeah.
Also, Kyle completed the Tour Divide.
Did the Tour Divide in June.
Past summer
Worth
too.
mentioning.
Yeah.
Yes.
No big deal.
No big deal.
Definitely of note.
Yeah.
No, seriously, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah.
I was following your dot closely, and was really happy for you.
Thanks. Yeah, I learned a lot on the Divide about like self-preservation and learning what my body can handle and what it can adapt to is like insane. Just like riding your bike for 23 days straight is, it'll show you what can hurt and then what can also not hurt a few days later. So it's crazy what your body can handle.
I love that. And that's a perspective I've heard echoed countless times on the podcast is your body essentially, or your brain says no. And if you just keep going, eventually your body will get on the program.
It will.
And
100%.
Which is mind blowing, but also not. Humans are endurance animals. We just, I sound like a broken record, but we don't give ourselves enough opportunities to go find out like what we're really capable of.
It's true.
All right. So one other, from a podium perspective, how many podiums have you been on in an ultra?
In an ultra sense, I won single speed Doom, the spare. So like the 200, I think last year or the year before.
Yeah, 2024.
2024. That was super sick. It was my first single speed race. And it was also maybe my first time really racing my mountain bike. I had just gotten it for the Divide the year before. I attempted to do the Divide in 2023. Is that right?
No, it's 2022. Or 2024 as well, but...
Yeah.
2024
as well. And I tried to go single speed, and I hurt myself in Montana, and that was a whole thing. And kind of learned my lesson on racing single speed at that distance. I respect the hell out of anyone who does it, but I think I really like riding trail single speed. But I think the long distance single speed is... I'll maybe revisit it, but it was really hard and taxing. But
the long stretches of just spinning
or just like walking a bunch.
Or walking, those two things.
Those two things are real in single speed. So to go back and do the Divide and finish it felt really good. Thinking about going back to do it again this year, maybe a little bit faster. I brought a lot of stuff this past year and like had moments where I chose comfort over like racing and like making it to the next town, which I appreciated because, if you follow the Divide, of like very historic, very like significant places along the route that, you want to spend time at and experience. And I got to do that.
Pie Town or Brush Mountain Lodge.
Exactly. Brush Mountain, Llama Ranch. Like
the Llama Ranch.
So
that's a big
sick.
One.
Yeah. The hospitality out there is amazing.
It's like I've never been, but I know that when I go, it's like, oh, these are places.
Like this is Llama Ranch.
Yeah,
like
I gotta stay here.
I gotta chill for a second.
You plan your day around like, okay, I need to sleep there. Your race strategy on that.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's 5 p.m. Like I'm at Llama Ranch. You know what? I might just like stay for the night, and I did, and it was awesome. Like experiencing the Divide was really important to me, and so when I finished, I was like, I think I can do it faster. I think I can, maybe not stop at Llama Ranch at 5 p.m. or like all these things that I think I could make a little bit of time on. I also think my training could be a little bit better. So, I haven't officially like put my ticket in for the Divide, but I'm definitely thinking about it. And winning West Texas gave me a bunch of confidence. So, hopefully like keep riding it. I'm thinking about doing Doom, but there's nothing on the calendar yet for the rest of the year. But I'm looking at a bunch of different stuff.
Yeah, like I think I put it on Instagram. I know I put it when I posted your video when you finished. That you earned. I mean, everybody did, but I mean, like that from the win, you won that W. There, nobody gave it to you, and you had to fight 100% of the time. And so, like, yeah, not only is it like badass that you like showed up for yourself, but it has to give you a lot of confidence. Like, oh shit, yeah, I can compete.
Yeah, for sure. And I've been putting a lot of work in with a coach, Ernie Lechuga. Shout out Ernie Lechuga.
Yeah, dude. Legend.
Yeah, I came back from the divide and I was like, all right, let me do it this like the right way and stop trying to like, I mean, my training before was like riding 3 to 4 days a week as hard as I could, or just like riding for fun or like really enjoying it, or trying to enjoy it as much as I could. And then, yeah, I came back from divide and was like, I could do it faster, but I need some structure. And I knew of Ernie from Arkansas High Country the year Hannah did it. Mm-hmm. He got the FKT that year, and then the next year I went to go do the Arkansas High Country, and the guy he trained beat his FKT, and I was like, that's impressive. If you
the
can,
student has become the teacher or the master. That's that's cool.
So I was like, thank you.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Are you Patrick?
I am.
I'm Britt.
Oh, you just registered.
Sick.
Yeah, no, hi. It's nice to meet you. I edit these, so or maybe we'll just leave this in. Hey, Britt's coming to East Texas.
Yeah. Shout out Dogspeed.
Yeah, good to meet you. Yeah, well, I do want to hop into training, so let's put a pin in that.
Cool.
And let's see what Hannah thinks. I mean, how are you feeling about your performance at Big Bend this year?
Oh man. I mean, I feel good. I'm definitely proud of finishing. It's so funny. While I was out there, I think I go into all of these events like with the intention of getting to the finish line, no matter how long it takes. And I definitely like throughout the process had moments of like, wow, I'm moving so much slower than I ever want to be moving on a bicycle, or pushing my bicycle. But then anytime I got to a place where I realized that Kyle was still going, I was like, oh shit, okay, well, looks like we're going to keep moving, whether it's slow or not. But no, I think really it was interesting with the way that you have kind of structured the route. Like each time, like you get to Sauceda and you're like, okay, we're going to do this next section, get back to Sauceda. And like that second time at night, I quote unquote caught Kyle. I don't know. He'd been there for a couple hours sleeping already. And I was like, oh, okay. First of all, I hope he's okay because he's been sleeping for kind of a long time and he's still here and Dennis is not. But, that was one of those where I was like, okay, maybe I can keep up with him. And then like when we left that next morning, he was gone. And it was just exciting. And the other thing about being out there is you don't have service for most of the time. And so anytime I got to a place where I could check the tracker and then I was like, he's that many hours ahead of me? Like, what the hell? So anyway, I am proud of myself for finishing, and even more proud of Kyle for beating me by literally like almost 11 hours. It's fucking awesome. So yeah.
Kyle threw down, man. That was
yeah.
No one gave you that race. So I hope you're feeling all the good feels. I know we all are. The electricity at the finish line. I mean, honestly, for both of y'all, Hannah told me I need to chill out.
No, I said you're so extra.
I know. We'll talk about it.
Awesome.
No. Don't chill out.
It was great.
No,
I'm not chilling out. That's who I am.
Good.
That's just who I am as a person. I can't be anybody else. So.
Yeah. Well, and it was also really, I mean, it was motivating the whole time knowing Kyle was ahead of me. Because anytime I was doing something, I was like, this is dumb or hard or whatever. I'm like, well, Kyle was just here and he just did it. So go ahead. And then, I was also in the back of my mind kind of chasing Dennis down because I didn't know what his deal was at that point. And so I was like, maybe I could potentially even pass him. And then also there at the end, when I was really like ripping it through the death loop, I was like, I gotta show up because these people need to go to bed.
Yeah.
And like I had a feeling that people were waiting to hang out and say hi.
Oh yeah.
Which I was blown away by how many people were actually there. But you know, all of those things are motivation factors as you're like chipping your way through a route like this.
That was one of my one highlight moment for me from the weekend is when Hannah finished. You came in and you were like, I just felt like I was getting warmed up. Like I hit that single track and like you were like, I am warmed up and I'm ready to go. And you were excited to get back and check your Strava. I looked at your Strava, a lot of QOMs. I mean, just there was a lot of gold going on.
Let's go.
I mean, like a lot of gold. I couldn't even keep track. But how was your Lajitas? So for the listener,
Yes.
the death loop comes prior to Terlingua this year. It's like 7 miles before you get to Terlingua. You have to do like a 22 mile single track loop. And you thought you had a pretty good time. So what does Strava say?
Well, it was funny. I like finished, I got out of the state park and I just felt like I had gotten beat to hell by that time. And as I was leaving the state park, it was by one of the water caches and there were some folks hanging out. They had like set up camp. And as I was coming out, somebody yelled down to me. I was like, how's it going? And at this point, it's like, it just got dark and it's only 6 p.m. It feels like it's 10 p.m., which is another factor we should talk about is how fucking dark it is out there. But they yelled down to me and they were like, oh, well, you coming off the trail, like, would you like a cold drink? And I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to say no to that. So they, shout out Adrian and Sylvia were hanging out, gave me a Coca-Cola, and they were like, how much further you got to go? I was like, I got 40 more miles. And they were like, tonight? And I said, uh-huh. And yeah, that was a nice little boost to get going. And in my mind, I was like, man, 20 miles of single track, like that's going to take, you know, like single track that you don't know that it is dark outside. Like, no, you can burn it and still it'll take you, you know, at least
some of that single track is
2.5
low.
hours.
So
yes.
like you didn't know what it was going to be like.
Exactly. Yeah. I wasn't sure what I had coming, and I'd gotten a
And
little
Kyle,
bit.
for the record, saw it during the daytime. Hannah entered it at nighttime. So
And it's not easy to
complete-
navigate. It's
Yeah.
like it's almost like striped lines. Like you like see one patch and then you
Yes.
see the next patch and then you see and you're like, okay, there's that. And it's
Yeah,
like
it's not like the state park where you have creosote or ocotillo lining the trail.
Right.
It is just flat dirt, packed dirt,
yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and there's a line on the ground. But you were saying it was fairly well marked even at nighttime.
Well, and I think it was also just a matter of like just headstrong determination at a certain point too, where I was like, okay, it's gonna be dark the entire time I'm doing this. I don't have any choice there. And also, like I mentioned, like I was warmed up at that point. And like it's so funny for me to say that a 400-mile race is short.
Yeah.
But for me, on that second, you know, when you're in the groove on the second day, I knew what my bike felt like. I knew how it was going to respond to me. My body was warm. I was obviously tired, but I was also like hyped because I knew that the end was coming. And so I got onto that single track, and something about just like locking in and then also my headphones dying.
Editing that out.
Okay.
That might have. I don't know how they'll feel about that.
Yeah,
but
that's
anyway,
fair. That's fair.
yeah,
Okay,
it's
we
fine.
won't. We won't talk about it. But my headphones were dying, and so I decided to just play old school Taylor Swift out loud
from the phone mic.
from my phone mic, because I knew I was the only person out there.
Yeah.
Like would not
You can
do
do
that
what you
normally,
want.
but you know, whatever. And just like heavy breathing, like scream singing Taylor Swift, going through this single track, and something just clicked for me. Like I could see the line almost every time. Anytime I got just a bit off of it, I was able to find it immediately. And you're absolutely right. It's literally just like at that point, only Kyle had gone through it before me. And so I'm following like one tire track all the way through this like pretty big open field of random single track. And they've got like 4 loops that you're doing, and so you're constantly going in and out of every loop. And I was just like going by sections. Like my hammerhead would pop up and say like 2.5 miles to the next turn. I'm like, all right, this 2.5 miles, you're gonna burn it. And so I don't know, I guess I just like got into a mode, and I don't think I got any like QOMs on that section, because regardless it was still like, you know, 350 miles in.
And you're loaded.
And I'm loaded down, and I had made the silly decision of using a rigid fork, which I would not recommend to anyone, not even my worst enemy for this race. I was so worried about the big sections of road.
Yeah.
And the reality is the sections of road on this route go by like so quickly, or at least they did for me because it was also happened to be nighttime when I did them. But I would have much rather had a suspension fork that whole time. So anyway.
We're going to dive into gear. But I appreciate you saying that. All right. Just one fun question before we get down into some more nitty gritty. But we just wrapped up Thanksgiving. You were with friends and family. Kyle, you didn't get to see your family, right?
Nope, they were up north.
They left you. But Hannah, you were with fam?
Yeah. My family came to me.
But just in general, like how well does your family conceptualize and appreciate what you're doing? Kyle, I know your family's actually been out to East Texas quite a few times. They probably have a pretty good insight. But like I talk to my family about what I do, and it's like I've been doing this a while. Like I'm on, I don't know, 7 years of the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Like they just don't, they'll never get it. And that's fine. Like I'm not mad about it, but how well do like, are your families like super stoked? Do they like appreciate like how crazy this is?
I think so. Yeah. I think my parents for sure understand it. My sister maybe, hasn't like seen the full trauma of like someone finishing after doing 400 miles without sleep, like it's not traumatizing, but it's just like, dang, that person's worn out, and like they did this big thing and rode without sleeping for 2 days, or referring to the East Texas Showdown. But yeah, I think my parents have a good idea for what it takes. Maybe not physically, but like they know like the mental wear, and like how long it takes to recover. And they're always super stoked when I'm like finishing an event or just even doing an event. They were bummed that they couldn't be at West Texas. I'm sure they would have shown up if it had worked out. But on the topic of friends, like they constantly, like, specifically my work friends, because I'm around them the most, which also includes Hannah now.
Yeah.
She works with me. It's awesome.
And you're still at the same metal shop you were at when we first interviewed?
Yeah.
So our interview that we did back in 2001, I guess?
2021? 2021?
2021.
Yeah.
Dyslexia.
I was like 6 in like 2021.
Yeah. You're, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Still at the same metal shop.
Yeah, still at the same metal shop.
Still been working there. All right. Yeah, same metal shop.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, my work friends like always ask me how my training's going and how like rides have gone, or how I'm feeling about getting ready for West Texas and things like that. And Hannah being around, we can like both, have input and tell them all about it. And they maybe, in the same sense, don't have an idea for what it's like physically to go through that kind of effort, but definitely like, no, I'm exhausted when I go back to work, or understand that it's definitely taxing, because it's like you're doing this big thing. And how could it not be?
Yeah. Your family is one of the most supportive, sweetest families. Like they're consistently at your races.
They love it. Yeah. They love being there.
I just love it. I love the love.
Mm-hmm.
It's
I'm sure they'll be at East Texas this year.
I hope so.
It's too easy. It's like an hour, 2 hour, 3 hours away. 3 hours away. Yeah.
But like we got to go see Kyle.
It's perfect. Yeah. Yeah.
What about your family? Do they appreciate what Hannah Simon is doing in the bikepacking world? Do they conceptualize it at all?
I think they do. I think it took a little bit of time, but I think also like something that I think my mom specifically figured out a long time ago is that like she's never going to be able to like stop me from doing something, not that she would necessarily want to, but people ask me a lot because of all of the travel that I do and how much of this I do alone. They're like, what do your parents like? How do they deal with that kind of thing?
Which is such a messed up question, because only women get that question.
Yeah, that's fair.
Fucked up, but
yeah, it's like, and I think I've been fortunate to have parents that trust me. And, they raised me. They know that I can handle my shit. And I think I'm almost a little too independent for their taste sometimes. And mom's like, wait, you don't need me? So I think, I've been racing now since that first East Texas Showdown in 2021. And even before that, I got into bikepacking by doing a big, long cross-country trip. So I think they have had plenty of time to kind of absorb the fact that their daughter is now ridden across this country a couple times and a few other countries at this point as well.
I mean, it's crazy.
It is. Yeah. So, they definitely appreciate it. It was funny, specifically West Texas Showdown. I feel like, I don't know, it was like a few weeks ago that I was like, I wonder should I go out and do that? Like, I think Kyle and I were like hanging out talking because he was making the trophies for it. And I think I reached out to you like maybe a month beforehand and was like, you got space out there for me to come race? And so this specific race, I don't really know if my parents knew beforehand that I was going to do it. But when I saw them at Thanksgiving this past week, they did say like, oh, hey, yeah, by the way, good job out there.
Nice.
That
They
was
were
cool.
watching.
You did
They're
it
like,
again.
Yeah, exactly. And they know Kyle at this point too. So they're like, oh, that's Kyle. Well, he won. That's awesome. So it's like really sweet to see, the time over time, they really start to understand kind of what goes into all this. So
This was really special, guys. Like having y'all at the very first ever East Texas Showdown. Hannah shared first with Alicia, right? Am I saying her name
Alicia,
correctly?
yeah.
Alicia. And Kyle came in a respectable 6th on his first ever ultra, and full circle, 5 years later, 1 and 2 at West Texas Showdown. And to be able to like watch y'all's progression, it's just been really fun, and it's been really fulfilling, as a race director, to like, all I want to do is provide opportunities for people to go do exactly. And I was re-listening to our episode, Kyle, on the way on this drive. And I even like at episode 1 is like, all I want to do is like create stepping stones for people to go do Tour Divide or Silk Road or whatever. Like my race was never going to be like the hardest race in the series, but it was never designed to be, because you need a jumping point to go and hit those harder things. And y'all are like living proof. I mean, you've done Tour Divide twice now, and thinking about going back, well, I guess completed once, and, looking at going back. Hannah, you've been all over the world riding your bike, and here we are, man. It's just, I couldn't be happier.
It works.
Like,
it's a proven, it works.
it works.
It works.
The system works.
Yeah, it
East
works.
Texas
From
Showdown
idea
stuff.
to this,
Yeah.
How
Pipeline.
cool is that? Well, first podcast on West Texas Showdown, we got to educate some people. All right.
Sure.
We got to like let them know what the dealio is. So let's just start with equipment. Hannah, why don't you kick this one off? I mean, I think the big ones are, what bike did you bring? The tires are a big one. Footwear, aero bars. I mean, that kind of stuff. Anything in that vein. Hit me with what you think, what you ran, and
Of course,
let's just start there.
I mean, definitely mountain bike for sure. I was on my Chumba Sendero, and I'd mentioned, but I decided to put a rigid fork on it, and I would not make that decision again. So a hardtail, I think, is kind of the best tool for this style of race. And then, I mean, tires, I was running my Terravale E-lines, 2.5s, brand new, durable. They were great. I actually did, this is crazy. I can't even really call it a flat, but like I punctured for the first time ever. Not ever, but like first time during a race.
Really?
I was on dome loop.
Weird. There's nothing
and
sharp
it was
out there.
Crazy, right?
Everything's sharp out there.
Everything is sharp out there.
Yeah.
But I like knocked it on a rock or something. I heard air coming out. I was like, no way. I knew this was going to happen someday. And then I kid you not, like 10 seconds later, it literally just like
Sealed up.
Oh, that's such a good
I
feeling.
was like, oh, okay, cool. So I don't know if we can still count it as not quite a flat because I did nothing to fix it. But
No, that that counts as a
Did you have to
nothing.
put, did you have to
right?
put more air in?
no.
There you go. No flat.
Yeah, no
I call
flat.
that a no flat.
And let's shout out what sealant you were using.
Orange seal.
All right, orange
Yes.
seal.
Orange
Yeah.
seal.
All right.
Yep.
Number one.
But yeah, so those are my tires. And then I always ride flats for these things. Really any ultra and especially mountain biking. It's just a comfort thing for me at this point. Like I learned how to ride a mountain bike on flat pedals. And I think this race specifically, it was great to have because you're kind of hopping on and off a lot. And it was very convenient to not worry about clips or anything of the sort. So
Yeah, I was really concerned about people who weren't wearing flats, but I'm a big believer in autonomy. Like you can make those choices for yourself. I wouldn't do it out there. And I don't think many people coming back would.
yeah.
I don't. Everybody that was clipped in was like, oh, no.
I think Kyle was clipped in.
I was
weren't you?
clipped in.
Yeah, so you
Yeah.
can speak to that.
Yeah, let's get Kyle's perspective. Real quick, your sleep setup.
Oh yeah.
And we got to talk about water carrying capacity too. That's a big one.
Oh yeah. So sleep setup. Normally I don't bring my quilt along with me, but the desert just like got into my brain and I was like, you know what? I will bring only my quilt and my inflatable pad, and those were the two things. Versus like sometimes I'll do like more clothing and then only do like a sleeping bag liner. But yeah, this time around I was like, I don't want to fuck around in the desert, so I brought a quilt with me, like 30-degree quilt with a little toe box and then inflatable climate pad. And it did me real well.
And water. What was your water capacity?
Yeah. I went a little thin. I had a 2-liter on my back and then a 1.5 liters on my down tube. And I would have carried more, but our wonderful race organizer was very thorough with the water cache situation, which big shout out.
Big,
Patrick.
yeah, that's
that
huge.
was
Yeah.
so, I mean, just pivotal in the ability to do an event like this. So because there were water caches available and because I knew I'd be moving like relatively quickly in the grand scheme of things, I knew that 3.5 would be enough. And I did carry an extra liter on one of the longer hauls, from a water bottle that happened to be at the water cache.
Did you filter water?
I brought a water filter, didn't filter any water. Did see some out there, but didn't need to.
And on your tires, so you ran the 2.5. How do you think that, and especially with a rigid, so like what, if you did it again, obviously you would do a hardtail. Would you do a narrower tire or keep the 2.5?
I'd probably put a 2.4 on there, maybe do a cam rock or even a draw point. I don't think that the width would have changed a whole lot for me had I had the comfort of suspension. I have run my bike as a rigid before, like when I went out to Death Valley early in this year, and I had a 2.8 on the front Oxbow, and that was nice for the sand. But like in West Texas, it wasn't so much sand. I mean, there's also that because you're going through washes all the time, but it was mostly just like comfort going down the really rough double track roads.
Really rough.
So,
really rough.
Yeah. just for the love of God, put a suspension fork on your bike.
Yeah. Riding rigid is admirable.
Yeah.
It's
all right, Kyle.
Yeah.
Let's hear your setup.
Okay, so I had a hardtail Y Cycles El Jefe with 120 mil SID fork with 2.4 Continental. I'm gonna say this right, I think. Dubtenol.
Yeah.
Dubtennial?
Never heard of it.
I call it Dubtennial. Dennis said Dubtenol, and I was like, sure. Yeah. But they are, I think they're a new tire, but I got them because they're fast. And I was I'm a Maxxis boy by heart. So I trust Maxxis tires all the time, and putting these Continentals on was kind of a risk in some ways just because I didn't know how they were going to handle. I did ride them in LA, so I knew they could handle like some rocks and roots. But I didn't know what the sidewall puncture was going to be like. They ended up working great. I would run them again for sure. They're definitely, I would say like a really good tire for out there. My tire pressure was super low.
What was it?
Well, when I got home, I put a pump on it. On the front tire, it was like 10 PSI, and the rear tire was like 15 maybe.
Where'd you start?
I probably started at 15 in the front, maybe 20 in the back.
Okay.
But I remember specifically Ariel when we were taking the bikes off the rack. He was like, "Kyle, your tire pressure is so low. Like your tires are flat." And I was like, "It's fine." And then I, in my head, was like, "I got to put air in my tires all the way up until the race." And I think I used my hand pump to put 10 pumps in my front tire before the race started, and got out there, and the tire pressure was. Yeah, it was comfortable. I wasn't hitting my rim. I did have cush core in the back rim and the back wheel. Just kind of like insurance for the rim. It's a carbon rim, so I don't want to smash it on a rock and like ruin my race. But it also comes into play because I can run it at 15 and not have to worry about ruining my tire or my rim or anything like that. But if I did get a flat, I'd have to carry this inner tube with me. So like it's a trade-off. Like I'm ready for it and I've accepted that. But it worked out and I didn't have to take anything out. So.
And did you run aero bars?
I did run aero bars.
And you did not, Hannah, right? You had the little things, the little extra hand.
I've got like the bar ends
the
from
bar
Cane
ends.
Creek.
That's all you had. Okay.
Yeah.
I think aero bars aren't necessary. Like the Hannah said,
Ever.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry.
How many hours did I need you for?
Oh my gosh. Okay.
No, they're not necessary. I don't think for this race. I think if you want to be competitive and like have an edge, it's helpful. I think it helped me like keep the gap on Dennis when I was in the headwind for 30 miles on the way to Marfa.
There's a lot of pavement on there. There's long sections where
for sure.
Yeah.
And it definitely, I mean, my like hands got numb here and there, so like just having a different position on the bike. I usually run like inner bar ends, but I took those off because I cut like an inch off my bars before the race and didn't really have the space to put them on. So I had aero bars with risers and then like 100 or 720 mil bars, just to like bring my hands in a little bit closer because I've been running 800 for a long time and it's just like you're so wide, you're just like a sail in the wind. So yeah, like marginal gain. If you're going to grab anything, I would say aero bars are definitely helpful just because the stretches of road are long and usually windy in some direction. But yeah, not super necessary.
Water capacity.
Similar to Hannah, I had 2 Hydro Pack bottles that are technically 30 liters on my frame. And then I had a 1.5 liter bladder on my back. And then I carried a Coke bottle. I got a Dr. Pepper from my go bag or something and filled that up with water at one point. So it just had like a little reserve. But I did get very close to running out of water a few times. I filtered water twice in the same spot. It was
Fresno?
like, I think so. Yeah, Fresno Canyon.
Yeah, down at the creek.
Yeah, it's like running water.
Yeah.
Filtered one night. Didn't really need to. I filtered like half a bottle, just because I didn't know. I mean, how slow I was going to be going in the next section. Ended up seeing a mountain lion. Got out of there pretty quick, but he was like 500 yards away on a cliffside. So I turned around and saw his eyes and was like, "That's not a deer." So I got out of there pretty quick, and then on the last morning, I moved through the night as far as I could because I was like kind of rationing my water because the next water stop was like 30, 40 miles away. And I knew I was getting up on Fresno Canyon. It was that really gnarly section through the bushes. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, I have maybe like 1.5 liters of water left to take me like 40 miles, but it's chilly out. So I like took my jacket off and like tried to get a little cold and like not get super hot and sweaty. That's when I dropped my jacket.
Which Hannah picked up,
yeah.
Just
Sure
randomly.
Yeah.
She had it at the finish line,
Yeah.
which was like
I thought it was gone for sure.
Trail Angel.
Yeah. So I got my jacket back. But yeah, the water capacity, I probably could have used an extra liter to be safe, but I was never like completely dry on the water.
So for fast people, we're thinking
I would say like 4.
Yeah. I had 3.5 most of the time, and then had an extra liter just in case.
See you, Nathan. Are you out of here?
Bye, Nathan. Look at his bike helmet on.
Photographer extraordinaire.
Is that Velcro on your helmet? Did you get that from me?
Oh yeah, that's the light.
Little headlamp. All
Did
right.
you steal that from Hannah?
Independent thought.
Fair.
Influenced by Hannah Simon.
Bye,
Bye,
Nathan.
man. Thanks for the pics. Good to see you.
Yeah, 4 liters.
Yeah, I'd say 4 liters of
liters.
water is probably because of the water caches. I
Yes.
really want to emphasize that if you try to go ride in Big Bend by yourself, you need to carry way more water than that.
Yes.
But because we knew that there were reliable water caches out there, 4 was plenty for the race.
Yeah, let's talk about that real quick. Just give me some feedback. How I know the water caches were well supplied and well stocked. I'm proud of my team for getting that right. We way overestimated, which is where we wanted to be. But how well spaced out were they? Were y'all able to like plan well for them? I mean, I cut it a little close. I think the one thing I know we're going to do for the listener, the Showdown route passes our main aid station inside the park at Salcedo Ranger Station twice. There's a third time it passes it where it's 2.5 miles off trail. Next year, we'll definitely just have some water there so people don't have to do that extra 2.5 miles.
There was this year. I swear when I rolled up to like the section where you're like, okay, you're going to go to Salcedo or you're going to keep going to the finish.
Okay.
I decided to go chase Dennis, but there was a water cache there. And the reason I almost ran out of water is because I didn't put any water in on my back. I just refilled my 2 bottles. So that was a mistake on
That
my
was a
part.
personal.
I
Okay.
see.
I didn't.
No,
I was just
everybody-
like
every bottle at a time.
chasing Dennis and was like, I gotta go. So
Yeah.
like I just pulled my bottles out, refilled those, and was like, I'll be good.
Yeah, I think I know which cache you're talking about because that's where I filled up and grabbed the extra liter because I knew I didn't want to go 2.5 miles off route.
Okay,
So-
one of our staff must have preemptively went and did that, which is great.
Well, and it wasn't, so I think it was right across from the one that I sent you the picture of that I was like, oh, this is great. They had like put another cache like just across there when you're going back the other way.
Oh, that's the Casa Piedra one.
Yes. So it wasn't.
Was not what I think.
It wasn't what you were thinking. Okay, I'm pretty sure, unless there was something that I didn't see.
The one I'm talking about is like right when you pass Aquadendra.
It's before that.
Walk Aquadendro, and you're coming back down. It's your last entry into the park and into the shit before you hit the trail that I'm going to call Fuck Patrick Trail. You know exactly which one I'm talking about because everybody's going Fuck Patrick. We're going to call the other one Honor Ma Loop.
Oh my God.
The Black Hills. But maybe we'll get to that. Okay, so water. Oh, your shoes. From the photos, it looked like you were wearing flats, but they were actually like flat shoes with a clip.
Yeah. So they're like a hiking shoe essentially for that have an SPD cleat on the bottom. They're Shimano. I mean, it's like Shimano X. It's not Xterra because I think that's the 510 branding, but it's a Shimano shoe. I ran like the lower version of it for Divide and Stagecoach 400, and that was great. It had like a Velcro strap over the top that kind of cut off circulation. But for the Divide this year, I got like the next upgraded version, which had the BOA, which is controversial to like run a BOA on a race that long because you could break the BOA and then you don't have a shoe that ties down. I've had BOAs break before. It happened during West Texas with someone else, but luckily everything's worked out with that shoe. So yeah, I would like to consider myself a mountain biker by trade in the bike world, and I always run clips. So I feel like I can get out of my pedals just as fast as I can on flats. Although, what I learned is that the dust will get into the springs and make it harder to come out. So there was one time I just kind of fell over into the sand. Because like you go into the sand and it's hard and it's cool, and then you hit like a 6-inch deep section and you just stop. And it was slowly getting harder and harder to come out and get my feet in. And then I ended up putting some like chain lube on the springs. Then it was too easy. My feet kind of kept popping out every once in a while, which I've experienced before. But yeah, I'm a clips rider for sure.
I also consider myself a mountain biker first and have always clipped in until, I don't know, in the last 2 years, I've switched to always flats. Do you run your spring pretty loose as a starting point?
Yeah, I don't know the tension on it, but I know in the past I've just like cranked it down because I would rather. I mean, I think I can clip out pretty easy, but I don't want to come out on accident. Like the biggest thing, or the way I know my clips are worn out, is if I try to like do a step up on my mountain bike and like you kind of put pressure on the back of the pedals and you bring your rear wheel up, and if I do that, my feet come out on a consistent basis. I was like, okay, I've been walking too much in these shoes and like need to swap the pedals or the cleats out. And usually it's the cleat that makes the biggest difference in like how firm your foot is in there. But I think
I always just think about like, if it's too tight, that unclipping, because you're going to unclip a lot at Big Bend in West Texas, right? Everybody will be unclipping a lot.
Yes, and so there is hike and bike for sure.
That fatigue just over 400 miles.
Yeah. I don't experience that much fatigue in my ankles or like anything like that. Yeah, it's just, I feel like last time I rode flat pedals was actually the Big Bend trip we did 2 years ago. And that was like a fluke. Like I wore Vans and wore flat pedals, and it was like for fun.
You're just trying to be a cool kid.
Just trying to be a cool kid. Just follow my friends around.
We're all just trying to be cool.
But yeah, clipless pedals have always been what I've leaned to for the most part. So,
and for the record, there were a few times in the deep sand that I got caught off guard, and I was also just falling over even in my flats. So it's like that's not a foolproof system either. Like you will just fall over sometimes, regardless of what your shoes are.
All right. So to wrap up the equipment question, Hannah, what would you do differently from an equipment standpoint? Obviously, rigid fork, or not a rigid fork.
Yeah, swap out that fork. Do it on a hardtail. I don't know that there's really a whole lot else. I mean, in the same breath, it is possible to do it on a rigid fork too, but your hands will hate you. And yeah, maybe a little bit more water. But I also was glad, Kyle mentioned there was one time that he didn't fill up everything, but something that I've said for a long time. And then also I think Eric, my partner, said this to me once, where he was just like, every bottle, every time.
Yeah.
Like, just fill everything you've got. Like, specifically in the desert, I'm not trying to be strategic about how much weight I'm carrying. I just want to make sure that I'm taking care of myself, and I will drink more water if I have it available. And I didn't want to get to a point of like trying to conserve water. So, maybe a little bit more capacity would be nice, but.
Yeah, I really appreciate that and you putting that out there. And I'll just emphasize for anybody who's coming to think about doing it in the desert, don't plan for things to go well, plan for them to go wrong, you know, and don't exhaust all of our resources to come and get you if possible. I mean, we're there if you need to, but I would much prefer people go in, you know, prepared to get themselves out off the course. That would be the best case scenario. And I just don't want people dying in the desert because they didn't bring enough water, because they're planning on, and we'll talk about this in a second, but it's a lot slower going than you think it's going to be. And so people were making plans like, oh, I'm going to hit Ranger Station by X. And I don't think many people hit their target numbers. But Kyle, what about you? What would you change anything on your setup going into next year?
I could potentially see no arrow bars. I think I could get away with like mini bar ends, like right on the center of my stem.
Yeah.
I use the arrow bars for probably, if I put it in terms of mileage, probably like 80 miles of the route, which is like, sounds like a lot. I luckily had like a crazy tailwind on that section of road that went from, I don't remember the town's names, but it was like you show up in one town and then you basically end in another and then go back up into the state park.
Oh,
like,
Ruidoso. So that's Ruidoso to Presidio.
Yeah, and I was like chasing Dennis and had a
Ruidoso,
tailwind.
sorry.
Yeah, didn't need the arrow bars because in the tailwind you can just kind of open your arms up and sail with the wind. But yeah, if you wanted to try and maybe make your front end a little bit more agile or like a little bit lighter, you could take the arrow bars off. But I liked my setup a lot. The arrow bars were helpful, but yeah, again, I don't think they were necessary.
So I put out prior to the race, if you're doing Showdown, I recommend a hardtail mountain bike with 2.4 to 2.6 inch tires, and a guy on a hardtail 2.4 inch tire. And I even said I would run arrow bars. I would run a minimal arrow bar, you know, something minimal. And that was pretty much the setup you were on, and you won.
Yeah,
so
it worked well. I will say two things. My sleep kit, I think I missed, was a little bit more extensive than Hannah's, just because I had a full bivvy. And the night before I camped out, I slept on top of my bivvy to start and got cold, got in my bivvy and was like really comfortable. So decided to bring the bivvy just out of comfort and making sure like no matter where I was, I could get a really good warm night's sleep and not like toss and turn or be cold or this or that. And ended up sleeping for like 5 hours on accident the first night. I set an alarm for 3 hours. My
phone
phone
died.
died.
To wake you up. I was like 10 feet away, manning the aid station.
Yeah, my phone died, and then I woke up and like checked my watch, and it was 5, and I was like, oh shit. And then I woke up and saw Hannah, and then we rolled out. But
did you have earplugs?
yeah, I did.
Okay. I was wondering because, Kyle set up like literally 10 feet from and I mentioned to you, I was like, hey, I don't care if you sleep there, but just so you know, like we're going to be, up and about. And you're like, oh, I'm good. I'm like, cool.
Yeah, earplugs for the win. Always bring earplugs.
Yeah, always bring earplugs.
You never know.
Yeah.
I mean, dogs barking. I think there was dogs barking out there or something. It
was probably me.
Yeah. Yeah, Patrick's just barking into the night.
Why not? I'm howling with the freaking coyotes and shit.
Yeah.
All right. Hannah, I know you've ridden a fair amount at Big Bend. I don't know exactly, but I know you go out there quite often. So you have a fairly good familiarity with that type of riding. How did this course compare? Did it surprise you as being harder or more challenging than what you were expecting?
Yeah, I mean, there were some pretty big chunks of trail that I was familiar with that I had ridden before. Kyle mentioned briefly too, but the last couple of years, a group of friends, we've gone out and done kind of like a big 100-mile loop out in the state park. And so there was a lot of stuff that I saw that I knew I had seen before. But then there was also some sections where I was like, oh, we're going that way. Interesting. I've never done that trail. And then there were a couple of times I was like, I understand now why we've never done this trail.
It's not much of a trail.
Not much of a trail. So it helps though knowing just kind of race flow wise, like what something would look like, especially. So like first time you go into the state park, you go up past the is it Playa Montoya? Is that the
Yeah.
name of the two? Oh, Pila Montoya. Yeah, you go by those campsites, and like when we went out there before, we took pretty much exactly that route through Fresno Canyon up to Pila Montoya 1 was where we like base camped. And so I knew what all of that was going to look like. I knew that there was a couple of times that you were in the wash that you needed to look for the trail to get out of the wash and back onto the trail, because you can just follow the canyon up through the
arroyo,
deep arroyo. But so anyway, there was a lot of familiarity there, and I knew that was going to be nice. So getting out to Sauceda the first time, I was kind of on the schedule I was anticipating, and it was funny being there because there were lots of people around me that were very much not on the schedule that they were anticipating. They were like, it took so much longer to get out here. I don't know what to do, blah blah blah. And I was like sitting there eating my lunch, like, yep,
right on plan.
yeah. But then the second time around, I knew the way that you brought us back up to Sauceda, that was the section that we had come down on our way out of the park. And so I knew coming down it took me like 3 or 4 hours just to get down it. So I knew going up it was going to be, for lack of a better term, kind of a bitch.
It sucked. I just rode it 3 weeks, or like I was just out there and I rode it that direction. I'm like, and the traditional way is to come down. That's the way everybody rides it, is down. Going up is hard.
Yeah, and it was in the dark at that point too, because again, the sun goes down at like 5:30, and so climbing back up that, I was glad to know what I was getting into, because I kind of in my mind knew what the track was going to do. Like when you walk up that kind of like canyon wall that you go up on the way, and then you're walking up through to get up to the camps that I don't remember the name, Gila something maybe.
I know which one you're talking about. I can't remember that one.
I'd have to have it in front of me to know. But anyway, it was like good to know what was coming up.
One quick side note, I don't want to hog the conversation, but whenever I was pre-writing it, I came up there at night and I got to that wall and I'm just like, fuck, goddamn. I felt like I was back on the AZT and just hucking my bike and everything. And like I said on my YouTube video, I cuss just to motivate myself. Like I'm not really mad, but it's just, And I get up to the very top of that climb where that campsite is, and there's a guy standing there. Haven't seen a single person all day, and he was just privy to my entire like cuss slew coming out of my mouth. I was like, dude, I'm so sorry.
I
thought I was alone, you know. But anyway,
that's so hilarious.
Yeah. But yeah, so like having that familiarity was good. But then I would say like getting back to Sauceda that second time, I was definitely there later than I anticipated. I think I rolled in at like just before 1 a.m. It was really lovely to see you standing there ready to
I was ready.
Rip. You were like, what do you want? Hamburger, hot dog? We got chips, we got all this. And I was like, heck yeah. And then that's when you're like, yeah, Kyle's sleeping right there. And I was like, should we lower our voices?
Earplugs. I got earplugs.
I asked him.
I know. It was so
That was
fun.
good. Yeah.
But yeah, Patrick was there to make me a burger. And I kind of honestly wasn't sure at that point what my plan was. I knew I wanted to sleep and stay there, but I also like have a soft rule of not really hanging out around where there are aid stations because it is usually really loud. But I like tucked away back by the bathroom over there and set an alarm for like 4 a.m. So I was like, okay, 3 hours. That's great. And then was rudely awakened by the massive air compressor that they have at the station it went off at like 3 a.m. and I sat up and I was like, this is definitely my fault. Like somehow this is making noise because of me, like just totally disoriented. And
they sounded the alarms.
Truly. But I was proud of myself because like that woke me up an hour earlier than I wanted to be. And I like got up, went to the bathroom and was pretty awake. And I was like, should I just go? I was like, no, I said I was going to sleep. I'm going to lay back down, sleep for another hour. And I was glad I did because then once I did actually pack up all my stuff and go back over to the aid station area to get a little snack before I go, like that's when I saw Kyle. And ended up, we didn't leave until like 5:30 in the morning, I think.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I made a PB&J, sat there in the chair.
Hung out with Russ. Russ is cool. Yeah. So yeah, hung out longer than expected, but really needed the recovery for sure.
Yeah, I think we'll get into it a little more, but I think, well, I mean, we can talk about, we'll just talk about it right now. So, because I was manning the aid station, And so I was up till 5:30, then I watched y'all leave, and I see y'all rummaging around. But we had at that point, Dennis was in the lead, and then there's another guy, I can't remember his name, but we had a great chat at the aid station. He's ridden all over. He's done, all over the world. He's done some really amazing events. I'm like, okay, this guy's a strong rider. He's not sleeping. He's going. And then y'all both got what, 4-ish, 5-ish hours of sleep in that range. And Dennis and this other gentleman didn't stop. And then they got caught in Black Hills, which I'm going to call the Honor Mile loop because he scouted that and put that on the route, and everybody really enjoyed that. Wink, wink.
It was a really good opportunity to catch Dennis because I was looking at the tracker like, all right, I'm gaining on him. Like I was going faster through it, and I was like, all right, I'm getting there. But I knew there was road that he was going to get on and take off on, so I was just like trying to make up as much ground as possible.
Dude, I was watching it, and Dennis and that other guy got to Black Hills, and they both just like stopped somewhere along. They were like, Dennis like stopped. And then like the other guy never caught him. He stopped somewhere behind him and they were like, yeah, fuck this. This is enough. I'm stopping. Yeah. And I was like,
I think that was Brad.
Hannah.
Was it Brad?
Brad.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was
he
the
was
name
also on a gravel bike.
Also on a gravel.
That was
like a crux.
Yes.
Yeah. Just no suspension.
Yeah. FYI, people.
Yes.
I told y'all.
Bike.
I
Very
did.
strong rider.
Told y'all.
Great person.
Yeah. No, just
on a
wrong
gravel
bike. And Dennis is strong rider. Wrong bike.
100%.
But I was doing all the math in my head. I was doing all the math. And I was like, they both slept. Single track. We got a lot of road. Then we're going to have Pinto Canyon. Then we got to come. And I was like, we have a race on our hands. Like, I know there's a gap right now, but we got a real race on our hands. And we did.
Oh, yeah.
We really did.
Well, and that's where Kyle took off because I think we left at the same time in the morning, and then he was gaining on me pretty much immediately, and I was like, okay, bye. And I was like, oh, I'll catch him because like I think generally Kyle like goes pretty hard and then takes a second.
It's true. It's true. That is the MO.
Stops and has a snack,
Yes.
and like sometimes I'll catch him then and whatever, and then but I did not see him again after that. And I think through Black Hills, I really just like got beat down and was like, I am not enjoying this, and everything looks the same. And I just
painful.
like saw it on the map and was like, this is so silly. I could just take the road right there. So anyway, that was definitely my like undoing because I moved so slowly through that. So I know why Brad and Dennis slowed down a whole lot there.
I think that's where I started getting scratched up the most.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
that. I mean, like it's almost like getting a tattoo. It's like really painful, and it's just like, oh God. And then you just keep going, and you look down, and there's a little bit of blood, and it's like maybe a scratch or two, and then it just like keeps happening and happening and happening. But
that is a great way to put it. It's exactly like a tattoo.
It's painful,
like,
but it's not like it doesn't.
And then you get kind of numb to it.
Yeah,
and it's like it's still painful, but you're just like, all right,
like you just like a bunch of just like
that's exactly what it's like to ride. What is it like to ride Big Bend? It's like ow, fuck, god damn it.
Yes. Like, oh, that one's a bad one.
Look at that over there.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty. That is exactly how you summarize riding Big Bend. So harder than you thought it was going to be, right on par. I guess a question
harder,
for
way
both.
more hikeable.
I know Hannah has a little bit. Kyle, you said you'd been out there one time prior.
Yeah.
So Hannah had a little bit more familiarity. So Hannah, was it even harder than you expected, or?
It was slower than I expected. And I think that was something that caught up with me in that Black Hills section was just how much more time it would take out there than anticipated. And I think that's also like, I talked about being motivated by like trying to chase Kyle and eventually seeing that Dennis dropped and like knowing that y'all were waiting for me. I was like, I'm really racing the clock more than anything. And I think it was also just like it's like mind over matter, right? Like when you're out there and you're not having a good time and the terrain is really rough and there's so many other things you could be doing. And also the people around you are all dropping. Like at that point, like Eric had decided to quit and I was like, I want to do that. Like I want to hang out with my friends and not do this bike race anymore. But I think that was the other thing was like, it just took longer than expected. So I was glad once I got the fire under my ass that I actually started moving. But that little section in between, like getting up to Marfa, was really like kind of a beat down. Yeah.
Kyle, how did it shake out for you in terms of like expectations versus reality?
Yeah, I had a taste for what it was like a few years ago. Knew it was gonna be sandy. I was like ready to like walk my bike through a little bit of sand. Knew it was gonna be sharp. Wasn't ready. Well, yeah, I would say I was ready because I had the right shoes and like attitude to do a hike-a-bike. But yeah, I wasn't expecting to walk descents as much as I did.
Yeah.
Wasn't ready to I feel like I broke through some barriers on my like handling skills going down some of those descents. Just like, all right, like you just go for it. Like we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And I might want to go over the bars. But yeah, I would say harder, slower, more hike-a-bike than I expected. But I knew it was going to be taxing. Like I knew we didn't have that much time to like really get it done because it was going to be slow. So yeah, it was harder than I expected. And I think on that note, for someone who's like looking to, I've never done Arizona Trail, Hannah can maybe speak more to this, but to like the accessibility of your races, this is a great way to like get yourself introduced to the desert and like really harsh environments while still having like a support system to come pick you up at certain, checkpoints and have water caches and have a ranger station with all and everything you'd ever want in your own bag or like supplied by you. Whereas Arizona Trail has nothing like, they have water caches here and there, not really supplied by the race, kind of like more by community members. But yeah, if someone was interested in getting into like a really hard exposed race, this is like a perfect stepping stone to get there.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it's supposed to be.
Super important. Yeah. And I've never done Arizona Trail or like Colorado Trail where you're kind of really, really out there and exposed. If you roll an ankle and you can't walk, it's like you're screwed. But yeah, if you roll an ankle in West Texas, you might be able to get picked up.
Yeah.
If you could just walk a mile.
Michael Wilson will come get you with a big old smile on his face.
I have a short
Shout
story.
out, Michael
I have a
Wilson.
short
I
story
love
about
him.
Michael Wilson.
Oh yeah, we can tell long stories about Michael.
It was like 6 miles before the first or the second ranger station stop. I was feeling terrible, and I met up with Russ. Russ came up behind me as I was sleeping on the park bench, and he was like, "Hey man, how you doing? Like, you've been riding well, all this stuff." I was like, "Oh, you too." And we ended up riding together a little bit, and like crested this hill. And I was, it's late, you've been riding all day. I see this like light in the bottom of the canyon, like kind of halfway down. And you see a flashlight like walking up the trail and a guy's yelling. Like it was Michael and he was yelling Russ. And I thought it was a guy looking for his dog. And I was like, okay, there's a guy over there. I think that's his car. And he was yelling and I yelled back. I was like, what? And it just echoed through the thing. And Michael yells back, Kyle? And I was like, Michael? And he was like, I'm here to pick you up. And I was like, I didn't call for a pickup. Yeah, and then he was like, is Russ there? And Russ was like, hey, Michael. And they were just like yelling through the canyon. And we communicated exactly what needed to happen. And we like went down the little descent and met up with Michael. He ended up having a crazy story about getting his truck stuck and backing down in the dark and was just like did all this stuff. Russ had kind of had enough for the day, so he went with Michael, and I think it was a descent. It was really fun, but I went as fast as I could to the ranger station because I knew Dennis was already there. And yeah, I made it there, but it was really funny to see Michael. And I remember vividly, I was standing there joking with Michael. I was like, there's no way it gets worse, right? Like I'm already scratched up. Like there's no way it gets worse. He's like, no, there's no way.
No way.
And then I saw him at the finish and I was Michael. And Michael, it got so much worse.
So much worse.
It got so much worse. And he was like, yeah, I bet it did.
Yeah,
but,
Fresno was just a taste of what was coming.
Yes,
yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, shout out to all the rescue drivers. They did a killer job.
Dude, and the whole crew.
Yes. Oh, the whole crew.
Yes.
Yeah,
This was a monumental task. And y'all know, I mean, you just don't have the words for how critical it was to have a really good team. And I could not be more proud, not only of the team, but the riders who showed up. I really appreciate people that showed up on the right bike. I think people who didn't learned, and I think everybody next year will know it's a mountain bike course and they'll listen to me. But even the riders, like, we didn't have a pickup until at 5 p.m. on that first day, which this was my 9th race to ever run. We've never had a race. And so that told me that the people that showed up with the right mentality. They showed up, they were ready to take it on. And because of everybody, the riders showing up with the right attitude, the team doing all their work, it went really, really well over and all. There was a couple little areas we can fine tune, but I'm happy. You know?
Well, and I think that also speaks to the like grit that you need in order to even attempt something like this too. And I think that's the thing about having an event in a place like West Texas is that like the people that show up for it, for the most part, know like, okay, this is gonna be hard. Like it's not impossible, but it's something that's going to challenge you. And I think that's what I appreciate, and kind of going back to what you're saying about it being like a stepping stone for people, is that like I was for sure having flashbacks to Arizona Trail.
Yeah.
Like there were definitely moments that I was like,
Me
oh
too.
God, like it's all flooding back. And I was in a different state of mind when that was happening too, but I was feeling myself getting frustrated. And anytime, I'm like dragging myself and my bike through cat claw and doing the like,
Yes,
like grin and bear it,
Yes.
Like there were definitely moments. And I think it's nice because it's just like a little piece of what you could experience. And then once you achieve even a little piece of something like West Texas Showdown, then you build on that confidence of like, okay, I got through 100 miles of West Texas Showdown. Like maybe I'll go to East Texas and do the full showdown, Like it's interesting because I feel like at this point in my race experience and career, like people ask me, they'll be like, oh, you're going out to West Texas. Like, are you doing the long one? And then they stop and they're like, never mind. I know you're doing the long one. And I'm like, I want more people to feel the confidence to even get out there to attempt the long one.
Yes.
Like that's even just like biting off that piece is enough, and then getting to a certain section and also knowing your limit too. So yeah, it was definitely a good place to test out that grit and build on your confidence. And then also, just be honest with yourself of what you're capable of. So
Yeah, that's huge. Be honest with yourself. Don't get in over your head, but push yourself.
Yeah.
Like do both things. You don't need to take crazy wild risks. And that's the cool thing is, I don't think anybody did this year, and I really appreciated that.
Yeah.
It made a huge difference that everybody came prepared for. No one was really prepared, I don't think. I mean, no one could fully know what you're really getting into, but that right mental attitude going into it is so huge, and it made a big difference. I also want to shout out Eric House, since we were shouting out Michael. I know Eric well enough to know like his race didn't go the way it wanted to. I think he made it 100 miles and like tapped out at Sauceda aid station. But like we were talking, like I was at Terlingua, and I was like, dude, Eric's having the time of his life. He's fine. And then I heard he got into the aid station, immediately was like, all right, let's make burgers and let's tell people. And I'm like, yeah, that's what we do. Like Eric knows the program, like we're a community, we're a family, and we got to take care of each other out there. And I couldn't be happier because everybody pulled their weight. Everybody came with the right attitudes. My staff was, they worked their asses off.
Killed it.
So,
Yeah.
Let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
We're an hour and 10 minutes in.
Let's back it up.
No. Let's get into the race. So we've kind of talked about some of it, but I'd love to give y'all's feedback. One of the cool things I like about this race is we start in Terlingua, Texas, which is just a super dope town. And if you've never been, you just got to go. That's all I'm going to say about that. You got to go. But coming out of Terlingua, there's a 2.5 mile climb that's pretty pitchy. And I think it's a cool way to start the race, break the field up pretty early on. So Kyle, I'd love to hear your perspective on that. And then Hannah had a mechanical right at the beginning. So Kyle, let's start with your, what did you think about that as a starting point for the race?
It was a good starting point. I think we had like a mile
rollout.
Yeah, mile rollout. And then, the race was off, and it was pretty obvious that the gravel bike guys were, taking off and pretty fast. And I knew I wasn't going to be, the fastest on the road, but I just tried to go as fast as I could to manage my effort. Like I wasn't all out, but I was just trying to, shout out aero bars, got in the aero bars, went as fast as I could. The climb up, I definitely worked really hard. Like I just wanted to stay with the people up front that were already kind of cresting the hill.
Gave Ariel a kiss to the camera.
I gave Ariel a kiss. I had to.
Great shot.
Yeah, that was a good one. Got up and over the hill, and then just went pretty much as fast as I could. Again, not like an all out effort, but just try to get to the trailhead because I knew that was what was going to be the majority of the race.
Well, so let's dive into that, because that's one of the good things about that hill is it's going to spread out the field, because you have 10 miles of pavement before you hit your first single track. And you quickly, that trail is a couple miles, and you pop on to some double track you can pass again. But what was it like from a race perspective? So the field spreads out, but you're on a mountain bike. The gravel guys are in front of you on single track. How did that shake out going into the single track?
Yeah, I went to the single track behind, I believe the woman, I forget her name, but she was in Slowdown, I think.
Jennifer Reel.
Yes.
Yeah.
She was up there. She was going fast. She had like a seat pack issue, so she was pulled over, and I passed her, and took about 3 miles maybe to like really catch. I caught Dennis at one point. He took a wrong turn. So I passed him pretty easily at that point because he had gone up instead of down. And then he kind of quickly caught up to me. I felt like I was moving fast. I was definitely trying to catch like the guys up front because I wanted to stay in the race. But yeah, they were not moving. There was a few people, maybe one guy on a mountain bike up ahead. Russ, I think, was up there. And he was moving pretty quick, but I passed the front 2 guys in the first 20 miles on like a really technical climb, and then just like took off from there. But I remember Russ was like, "You can give it a shot," and I was like, "Yeah, let's give it a go." And then I like blasted up this like really rocky ascent. And I was like, "Okay, cool. Yeah, like if I can ride that and they can't, then there's an advantage." Turns out I wasn't able to ride that section the same way again because I was fresh. And the next time I came back around, it was like 270 miles in or something. And I was like, "Oh yeah, I remember this part, but I'm going to walk it this time because there's no way I'm getting up it."
I already checked my ego box.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, there's no shame in walking up. I think maybe 2 more times went back over that. But yeah, and then after that, I just like kept a steady pace and tried to hold everybody off as much as I could. I looked back a million times, like, because you can get, up halfway up a small hill and look back and see the last mile or 2 of the trail. So I'd look back and like see if, honestly, I was running from Hannah the whole first day. I was like, when is Hannah gonna? Because it's like it's the usual MO. Like I ride really fast in the beginning, and then Hannah pops in at like mile 50 to like 75, and we ride together, and it's like a race at that point. But yeah, I was looking back for Hannah the whole time. I was just like, oh my god, like, and Dennis too, because I didn't know how fast he was going on his gravel bike, and I caught up with Ian Fleming actually. He was because like we had
he's a Slowdown.
Yeah, he was on Slowdown, and I like got behind him by like 100 yards and was like, I think that's Ian. So I tried to chase him down, and I caught him at the ranger station because it wasn't that far from like the merge. And then Dennis. I don't know if I'm getting too far into the race, but
no, fine. We're talking race stuff.
Yeah,
let's go.
I showed up at the ranger station and was like on a mission. Like knew I had to get in and out of there pretty quick. I was cramping a little bit because I again was like working really hard all day the first day, but especially in the first 40 miles. Was cramping a little bit, so I showed up. They had Gatorades and then they were also still setting up. So they were like putting Gatorades on ice.
The first one there.
Yeah, they were putting Gatorades on ice, and
I told him, I was like, we have to leave early. They're going to be there fast.
Yeah.
And anyway.
But it was perfect.
I'm glad somebody was there.
Everything they offered, they had set up. It just like Gatorades weren't cold. I didn't care.
Yeah.
Like put down 2 Gatorades pretty quick, maybe like a couple bags of Cheetos. And then I asked someone, I was like, you guys have pickle juice? And they were like, oh, I don't know. And so they scrambled, found a jar of pickle juice, and we like fountained it into the Gatorade bottle, and I just like chugged. They just watched me chug a bottle of pickle juice, and they were like, "That's crazy." But it was like a saving grace. Like I know it helps with my cramps and all that. So I was there for maybe 10 minutes, maybe 15, and then the second Dennis showed up, I was like had all my water refilled and like was pretty much ready to go, and I was like, "All right, I'm gonna get out of here." So Dennis showed up with his teammate, and I left, and it was not funny, but it kind of shows what a gravel bike might do to you if you go out there. But when I was leaving, I overheard one of the guys that Dennis was riding with. He was like, I need 100 Band-Aids. And I was like, like I didn't see his legs or what had happened, but I was just like, that can't be good because everything out here is sharp and rough. And like, if you go down at any kind of speed, you might get pretty scraped up. But yeah, I heard that and I was like, okay, they might be there for a second. So I tried to go as fast as I could. And then pretty much the whole day up until like 6 or 7 p.m., I was by myself. And like wasn't sure where anyone was. Like I thought Hannah would have caught me by then, and thought Dennis was close by. And then I stopped for water, saw the mountain lion. And again, I'd been by myself all day, so I was like, "Oh my god!" Like, I thought it was 100 yards away, and the rangers. Not the one thing I remember, but I remember very specifically the rangers were like, "Don't get in between an animal and its water source."
Yeah.
And I was standing there at the only water source in the whole like canyon, and was like, "Okay, there's a mountain lion. I'm in front of its water source. Like, I need to get the hell out of here.
All right, let's talk about this mountain lion. How many mountain lions did you quote unquote see?
Okay, that's very funny. Very funny. But let me show you the picture.
No, I'm not trying to be funny.
No, I got a
He's like,
picture.
I got receipts.
receipts.
All right.
Okay,
yeah.
so I thought I saw 2. I actually saw 1, and
Okay.
I'm like 100% sure on the one I saw.
I believe you. When I was in Fresno, while you're looking at that, you were fast. Oh my God.
It was blinking at me. It would like blink and look away.
Let me see this. Oh. Okay. Well.
Yeah. Are you sold? You could see both eyes. You could see
For all
both
the
eyes.
listeners.
It
Yeah.
would blink, and then it would look at like other racers or someone else or something else, and then it would look back at me and blink again. And I was just like,
Could you only see its eyes when you were shining your lights at it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and I would do the thing where I covered my headlamp and it would go away, and then I'd pull my headlamp back
Uh-huh.
up and it would show back up. I was just like, And then the second one I saw was
Air quotes.
yeah, at like 1:30 in the morning or 2 in the morning. I was like, it was probably one of my lowest points. I had taken a 200 milligram caffeine pill with no food, and so I took it at midnight, and then at 12:15, maybe it wasn't 2 a.m., maybe it was like 1, but at like 12:15 it hit me, and I was like, okay, I feel terrible. Like this 200 milligram caffeine pill just hit. I haven't eaten much food, and I was like, just like kind of like kooky in my brain. So that's a crazy way to describe that. But I crested this hill and saw what I thought was another mountain lion because it was this orange glow like 200 yards away. And so I stopped and like looked at it for a long time, waited for it to like blink at me or look away. And it wasn't doing any of those things, but I was still convinced it was a mountain lion. And so I started yelling at it, just like open, like just like yelling as loud as I could, and then I was still convinced it was a mountain lion. So I picked up my bike by the fork in the seat tube and like held it over my head and started walking towards it like the Terminator. And I was still yelling at it like as loud as I could, and then by the time I got close enough, I could see like lettering, and the reflector hadn't moved because it wasn't a mountain lion. And I was like, no, I was so embarrassed. I was like, no fucking way. And so I put my bike down and was just like, man. I had to take a second to just be like, you need to chill.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a
Well,
mountain lion.
you did see a mountain lion, so you were on edge.
Yeah.
I was for sure, yeah.
I mean, that's scary as fuck.
Yeah.
Like, there are very, very few things that scare. I've never seen a mountain lion, but that is one of the things that I'm going to be worried about.
It's like the one of the many things. Well,
Like, that's the number one predator out there.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
And like they'll stalk you.
I was gonna say,
So
they're out there.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, now you leave Fresno Canyon, you don't know if that one
Is
he
following
might have
me.
been stalking you the whole fucking time. You
Yeah.
know? And so, I mean, he really could have.
and then
but what I'm saying is, like, in your brain, when you see the second one, what I would be thinking is like, oh fuck, is that same
The
one
same
from
one?
before that's been
Yeah.
like stalking me this whole goddamn time?
Mhm.
You know. So in your defense, it was in your head.
it was yeah.
You
I
had
think
a
it was
real
pretty valid.
experience. That, yeah.
And I definitely had headphones out when I was like in the thick of it, mainly for rattlesnakes because they will tell you when you're close.
Yeah.
And like I heard cattle, and after the mountain lion sighting, I like rode like 2 miles and then saw feral donkeys, and I was like, they're gonna run over me. Like, I'm in danger. I got a mountain lion behind me. I got donkeys in front of me, and I was just like, oh my
Forget
god.
about Dennis. I'm gonna get eaten.
And then and then Dennis showed up. Like as I
Yeah.
was standing, because I was like, I need to lay down. And like I'm exhausted. I'm scared. I'm like by myself. I'm just gonna lay down for an hour. I literally rolled out my entire sleep kit, and Dennis rolled up, and he was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, there's a mountain lion back there. There's donkeys up there. Like, I'm sleeping. And he was like, no, man, like, the ranger station's 10 miles away. Like, let's go. And it's a 10-mile climb. He was like, it's 10 miles away. Let's go. And I was like, okay, fine. Like,
Right on.
thank you. Like, because I really needed someone else to be
Yeah.
there just for my peace of mind. And he was, on a mission to get to the ranger station. And we were like, hiking and walking, or it was probably half and half hiking and biking. And it definitely showed that I could ride more than him, at least terrain-wise,
Yeah.
on some of that, because he'd get off and walk, and it was just like a rocky descent that my mountain bike could handle. And I ended up stopping like 6 miles from the ranger station. He kept going. And, we were out of the thick of it, out of the donkeys, out of the mountain lions. And then, he got to the ranger station, was there for maybe 30 or 40 minutes, and then I got there, and we overlapped by maybe 10 minutes or so, 5 minutes. Wasn't that long. I sat down and like took a break and like knew there was burgers and like good food and all the things I needed to recover because that day was really long. And wasn't really worried about Dennis. And like kind of in my head was like, if the race is over, the race is over. Like I just want to finish it. Back to like that initial goal of just like getting it over with, not getting it over with, but like seeing it through.
Getting through it, yeah.
And just like I just need to do what I need to do to make sure I finish. And that is right now sleeping for 3 hours.
Yeah.
So I did that, and then woke up to him 20 miles away.
All right, let's pause there.
Okay.
That's a good pausing
Okay,
point.
cool,
We'll pick. That's a good place to pick back up
Sweet.
on. All right. So Hannah, you started yours with a
immediately with a dead shifter battery, which was so silly. I had ridden my bike the day before. We got to Terlingua, early on Thursday, or we got there early on Friday, and we did a little shakeout ride. It was me and Ian Fleming and Eric House, my partner. So I checked my boxes. I did what I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
Your hammerhead didn't tell you your shifter battery was there?
I don't know how any of that works, man. I don't know how to get it to tell me that.
That's
I didn't even
fair.
know they did that.
I don't, but
It might not do it with the thumb shifter.
It probably does. I don't know. But we started the race. That morning we rolled down. We had stayed at Boathouse. Shout out Greg in Terlingua. Great place to hang there. But we camped outside of Boathouse. Rolled down to the start. I had shifted a couple of times, so it was working. And then, we started the race. And on our neutral rollout, didn't need to shift because everybody was chilling. And then as soon as we took off down the hill to approach the 2-mile climb, I go to shift and like nothing moves. And I mean, it sounds real dramatic. It's literally you just like take the coin battery out and put a new one in. And I had 2 of them with me, so I was prepared for all of this. But it was hilarious to like have all this anticipation and want to like really gun it at the beginning there to like, because I know like climbing is my strong suit. So I was like, I'll climb this 2-mile hill. I'll get onto the single track before everybody and like try to get some distance. Because I was racing. I like wanted to race this one. And then immediately was just like, okay, let me lose all of my momentum and stop. And like even, all the low downers were coming up behind me. Kayla Hall was like, are you good? And I'm like, yeah, it's fine. And I'd like pulled over and I fixed it, and I was at the back, and so then I climbed my way back up the field, and it wasn't that much of an inconvenience. It was just one of those like, of course, this is when this is going to happen.
Yeah, I was at the top of the hill. You were still in the mix, but further back than I was expecting. I was like,
you're like, what happened to her? And you know what? If it was going to happen, then that's a fine time.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
So that's how it started. But I had that 10 miles of road to kind of catch back up with at least the like showdown pack, and got onto the single track and immediately just started like passing people who had their own version of that, like whether it's the seat pack getting caught up or something bouncing out or whatever. And was feeling good again. Like I said, that first section to Sauceda the first time, I'd ridden all of that before. And actually this was the first time I'd been on a geared bike in the state park. The times that we've gone bike packing, I've, in solidarity with Eric, run single speed. So it was actually kind of fun to be out there with some gears. That part was all good. Got to Sauceda that first time and ate some food, hung out. I caught Eric at that point because, I was slowly working my way through the field and thinking to myself, like, when am I going to catch Eric? Being hopeful. And I roll into Sauceda and he's like fucking hanging out. Like he's already been there for 20 minutes the first time around. And he was like, I thought you were going to catch me earlier. And I said, I had this whole shifter battery thing, whatever. We rolled out of there at the same time and kind of yo-yo the way that we do because he's on his single speed. And eventually there was a little bit of a gap between us, and I kind of in my mind was like, similar to what Kyle was saying, like it's nice to not be alone sometimes for these things. And I knew, like I said, that climb back to Sauceda, the 10-mile climb that Kyle mentioned, is the one that Eric and I had come down during our tour earlier this year. So I was like, okay, it'd be kind of nice to go up this, maybe with Eric, I don't know, maybe with whoever decides to roll it behind me. And I was kind of like conveniently dragging my feet and took a little 20-minute nap and whatever. And then eventually 2 other guys, I think it was Tim and I guess Robert actually, who
Robert
was
Shine.
the one who ended up finishing third. But the two of them passed me, and I was like, okay, if something happened to Eric, I don't know where he is, and decided to just go after it, and ended up passing those two again, and getting to Sauceda there at like 1 a.m. ish. But again, it was just like nice to know what I was up against, because pretty much everyone I interacted with, that was the other thing, like. One of my favorite things, and occasionally mildly annoying, but one of my favorite things about Eric is he's almost always in the best mood. Like he is so positive, and it's like something I aspire to be more of. And I knew that if he rolled up behind me, that the two of us could just like hang out and get up this climb and laugh about it.
You vibe together.
And like both times when the guys rolled up on me, and it was like I could see a light coming, and they came up and they were just not having a good
Grumpy.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, understandably.
Yeah. Oh
'Cause,
yeah.
like,
Oh yeah.
if you don't know what's coming, it's hard to keep a positive attitude. So anyway, I was missing Eric's positive attitude.
1 second.
Should I pause?
Yeah, 1 second.
Chopper alert.
Chopper. Get in the chopper.
Okay, that's good enough.
Cool. But yeah, I was missing Eric's positive attitude on my way out there, and had to just kind of like buck up and do it myself. And got to the ranger station that second time around 1. And was greeted with your smiling face and a warm hamburger. So things got better after
Man,
that.
when I was running running the aid station was one of my highlights. Like that, I was having the best time ever. I'm like, do y'all want seasoning? You want, melted cheese, like toasted buns? Unfortunately, I got busy, and so my hamburger skills went downhill, and it became just like get them out as fast as possible.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
when you came in, I was like, you were the only one there. I was like, I'll make you anything you want.
Yeah.
How do you want it garnished?
Yes.
But
Very deluxe.
very,
deluxe.
I try. But I had the best time, like just getting to be there, because like at Sauceda, for people who don't know, I mean, I guess it's obvious at this point, but we had a major aid station set up inside the state park with hamburgers, hot dogs, medical crew, rescue drivers, volunteers,
Go bags.
the whole go bags,
Yes.
which is actually where I was going with that. Good
Okay.
job, Kyle.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Yeah.
No, you're right on. You're reading my notes. We got a listener question. They want to know what was in your drop bag,
Oh,
and I think
man.
that's an excellent question.
Do you remember my drop bag?
Was it Dr. Pepper?
No, you picked it up and we're like, whose is this?
Yeah. Well, I didn't think I said it quite like that.
That's fair. That's fair.
Who the fuck wrote this? But I did. There was a backpack, and I
yeah.
lifted it. I was like, "Oh my god, whose is this?"
Yeah.
And Kyle was sitting. He's like, "That's mine."
That's mine.
He's like, "I didn't know y'all were gonna have all this."
Yeah. I'll go first if you don't
I
Yeah,
was
mind.
going to
no, hit
say,
it.
I
Yeah,
think
so-
the list might be kind of long.
When I heard,
Episode 2, we'll go into Eric's go bag.
Yeah.
Or Kyle's go bag.
Let's see. I didn't know there was gonna be so much food, and like I thought it was just like your go bag is gonna be on the fence and you're gonna go get it, and that's all you're gonna have. So I literally was like, okay, I walk into a gas station. What do I want? So I brought 2 liters of pineapple coconut water. I brought like a 8-pack of mini Dr. Peppers. That's what really made it so heavy. Is just had like liquids in there that I really wanted. I was very disappointed in myself, but I bought a gallon of pickle juice at the grocery store like the week before the race, and I was like, I'm gonna fill up 2 bottles with this stuff and like have it ready, but I forgot and didn't have that. But other than that, it was like general snacks. I had some honey, some maple syrup, just in case like I wasn't feeling like stomaching food but wanted some sugar. I had some like Cliff Bar type bars. They're called Go bars that I didn't really eat much of just because they were kind of bland, but like they have good, it's like a good fuel source because it's just like rice and oats. I did carry 2 of those the whole time just in case. Like I always carry a backup food supply of like 400 calories if I need something and I'm like out of food. Like bag of M&Ms. I had a whole ream of Oreos. I had some wet wipes in there.
This was like a 24-liter pack.
Yeah,
of
yeah.
Stuff.
And it weighed
It was-
like 20 pounds.
was
Yeah,
dense.
I mean,
it was full. Yeah.
Yeah. It was
I'm
real
sure I'm
dense.
missing some stuff, but
You had the most robust bag.
Yeah.
And I guess it's because you didn't know we would have that aid station.
No,
so.
yeah, and I used the aid stations. Like I took the chips from the aid station, cookies. You had candy there.
It was pretty well stocked.
It was well stocked
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, the burgers were a huge hit, and I'll circle back on it, but I played some mind games with Dennis on the burger front.
Oh, yes.
I can talk about that later.
All right, Hannah, what was your? Yeah, I want to
my
hear
gosh,
it.
I love it.
What was in your go bag? Maybe a more reasonable.
Oh well, it's so funny. You had said kind of from the start, like, oh, there'll be a drop bag. And I know you did a similar thing for Central Texas
Yep.
too, where you gave the option of a drop bag. And I mean, both Eric and I were like, drop bag. What? You can put things. They're gonna bring
Right.
them out there for you. What do you?
What
do
kind
you
of
put in a
bike-packing
drop
race
bag?
is
Like,
this?
what are you talking about? So as far as the stair steps to bigger things, it was one of those where like both of us were kind of like flabbergasted. We're like, oh, well, we could bring everything, similar to what Kyle ended up doing.
Well, initially we were like, we can put our sleep kits in there, and then we learned it was only food, and we were like, okay, let's calm
I
down.
was like,
yeah,
how
yeah.
far can we stretch this?
Yeah.
You can stretch it to food. That's
Yes,
how far you can stretch it.
exactly. So, but I mean, similarly, it was a lot of liquids for me. I got like one of those liter cartons of peach juice that I knew would just be something different than water. My big thing is protein generally, but like protein shakes are a big one. That anytime I'm in a place, I try to figure out, okay, like what's the easiest source of protein? And like drinking calories is another thing, especially during an ultra, like it goes down a lot easier than a lot of things do. So I had 4 30-gram protein shakes.
There we go with. I'm a big Core Power fan myself.
I honestly, we got a 12-pack from the grocery store in Alpine. So it was like
Just whatever they
protein,
had.
Premier protein.
Premier,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
the stuff for old people.
Yeah, yeah, I know exactly.
It's like an Ensure.
It's
you
what
know?
my mom has. Yeah,
Yes,
She
exactly.
drinks it every day. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, very reliable. But yeah, we had a 12-pack, and so Ian, Eric, and I split those. And I put all 4 of them in there because I was like, I don't want to carry the liquid, but I want it to be available to me when I get to Sauceda.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the theme. Is then one of the reasons I had so many things in this bag was because I knew, like, okay, that first 40 miles, like, I'm not going to need to carry all that. It's going to be there for me. So it was a little bit of strategy as far as like, I only carried like, when I was packing my bike the morning of, I was like, man, I feel like I don't have the things because like I didn't put Tater Boost in my bag when I was leaving because I put Tater Boost in my drop bag.
Yeah.
Shout out. I had that in the drop bag too. And yeah, so along with all of the liquids, then also like a couple of other things that I knew that I might want, like the gummies that I had packed. I put them in there because I knew I wouldn't need them in that first 40. So yeah, I think it was pretty robust. 2 Dr. Peppers as well.
Yeah.
God, I love Dr. Pepper.
Dr. Pepper's critical. So,
It's so
yeah,
good.
I had to put like a case.
Well, and you
of
you dream about a
You
cold
do.
drink when you're out there. Like you just can't help it. And yeah, that I didn't have one because I knew I was going to sleep. So when I got to the aid station that first time, I like downed a protein shake and then also like had a burger, got a bunch of stuff. And then, yeah, when I was packing to leave that second time, when I knew I wasn't going to come back, that's when I like tucked away the Tater Boost, brought out the last couple of, protein shakes that I had. And like, really, that's when I packed for the ultra
Yeah.
was that last time at Sauceda.
Let's talk about the aid station real quick. I'd love to get y'all's feedback. It's uncommon to have a big, I mean, I've never done it in my races, but my whole thing with doing that, as we've mentioned, the rate, every route passes at least once. So low down passes it once, slow down passes it twice, showdown 3 times ish. There's that 2.5 miles. It's a little bit of ways, but my whole thing was like, I want people to be successful. Like I want to set y'all up to be successful and not have to carry, a shit ton of food. Did I take it too far? Did I take away from the solo self-supported aspect of it? Or did I help facilitate, what I'm doing, which is like a more of an entry point into bike packing? I'd love to get y'all's feedback on that.
I think it was exactly what you described it as, is very much neutral support. Like you had enough things for everybody, like probably every time they came by.
100%. Yeah. We have
And
way
I think
more than we need.
I think taking it away would take away from the accessibility of the race.
Right.
So like, yeah, like I mentioned before, of it being a good stepping stone into getting into like really gnarly exposed regions. Having that aid station is like a peace of mind at like mile 100. I know I'm going to have all my stuff. I'm going to have a safe place to sleep. I know there's going to be people there if I'm like cut up or like, there's a first aid station essentially. So yeah, I think it was perfectly timed and well placed. And even the third option to go back at mile like 270 or 300 or whatever it was, 2.5 miles isn't that much in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, like if you really needed it, it's there.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
If you're cramping or if if you have a really bad cut or like, you just need to get back or you want to quit, like if you're done, then it's like another opportunity to like get back to people who can take care of you.
Yeah. I didn't know how year one was going to go, but I could just envision, and I think it was crucial. Like that was the whole thing is like, just get to the aid station.
Mm-hmm.
We have showers, we have ice, we have everything you need. Because I wanted to keep people on course. I mean, we had only 32% completed it, right? 32% completion rate. And that it was with water caches. That was with a banger aid station in the middle of the desert.
Yeah.
Hannah, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it makes for a different game. And you just got to play that game, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think, sure, there is some, I guess, merit to when somebody can go out and truly do something entirely self-supported and carry all their water and carry all their food. But I mean, even the biggest races, things like Silk Road, like they've got a control point that you also have that guaranteed 24 hours, like there's going to be food, there's going to be somewhere to sleep, and it's going to be available to everyone. And it is a big accessibility thing. Like that's something that I couldn't have completed Silk Road without those control points along the way. And I think in this situation, like, yes, like I said, drop bag gave me the like question marks over my head, but I was like, okay, use this to your advantage. Like this is part of what is available to you. And I think absolutely in the grand scheme of things, it makes it way more accessible for people to like wrap their minds around like, okay, not only do I know there are going to be people there and like some amount of food, but like I packed my own bag and I know that like that's there for me. So absolutely, I think it's great. Yeah.
Just treat it as like, oh, there's a gas station on route or something, It's
Exactly.
like,
that's what I thought of my bag was just like, okay, I walk into a gas station, what do I want? It's going in this bag.
Yeah. Exactly.
Cool. Yeah, I agree. I think, obviously I agree. I decided it and I put it on the route, but
good decision.
It would be just a whole nother ball game. It would be leagues above. I mean, it's already challenging. Again, 32% of the people finished it. So, and that was with the support that we had in place. So anyway, I'm standing behind it. Let's pick up on your race. Okay. So this is when, first off, Kyle, you went out the gate very strong.
Yep.
And I'm watching your dot. I'm like,
is he going to blow up?
Is he going to blow up?
I thought the same thing.
And that's what I wanted to ask you. Like, and I not negative, but I mean, I'm rooting for you. I'm like, please keep this up. And also, can he and all these things. But you had a very competitive race coming into the aid station the second time. That's when I was there cooking burgers for everybody. And Dennis had just left. You got 5 hours of sleep. Dennis didn't catch any. And that's when I started getting really geeked out on the race. And I mean, I was already excited, but from a race standpoint of like how things were going to shake out from that point forward was pretty exciting.
Yeah. So I woke up, saw Hannah, was stoked to see Hannah because I honestly I'm always excited to be in the same race as Hannah because we usually end up by each other. So to see her, we literally both had our red headlamps on, and I was like, Hannah? She was like, Kyle? I was like, bro, what's up?
I said, no way.
No way.
Hey.
So yeah, it was super sick to see her, and it kind of took the edge off of like my panic to like get out and chase Dennis because I was just like, oh, I'm like with my friend Hannah, we're gonna like ride out together. It's gonna be sick. Checked the tracker and was still like aware. Dennis was 20 miles away, and in the past, Ernie, my coach, was like, okay, 20 miles means 2 hours. That's not very far. So I was like, okay, I got 2 hours on Dennis. Like I can handle that. So we started out, we rode together for maybe like the first 5 miles or so. And then I was just like on a mission to catch the two guys in front of me because I was, out there to race and I didn't want to be in third. Like I wanted to be in first or at least sitting behind second so I could kind of manage and not like blow myself up because I think being in first is a dangerous place to be because you're constantly looking over your shoulder. You're constantly trying to set the pace and like people are chasing you. But if you can sit behind second place and manage the gap and like be kind of in control of when you're ready to pass that person.
Super smart.
It's a good strategy to have. And I used that later, like the second night. So Dennis is 20 miles away. Me and Hannah roll out. There's the what's that loop that cuts off the
Black
road?
Hills.
Black Hills.
We're gonna call it the Honor Mall Loop.
The Honor Loop.
to honor his contribution.
Yes, it was. I mean, it was
Contributions, by the way.
Yes, it was rough, but it wasn't unrideable. I'd say 90% of it was rideable. Definitely some parts of that you had to like get scratched up or hike a little bit. But I was watching, who was the guy in front of us?
Brad.
I was watching Brad, and I was getting closer to him. And right at the end of that loop, I caught him, and he was like, "Yeah, I've been taking like I took 2 15-minute naps or something like that on that loop."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Okay, cool. Like you're probably pretty tired because you didn't sleep last night, except for 15 minutes in the dirt." And I think he told me that Dennis had slept for 30 minutes, and Dennis didn't have a sleep kit. And I was like, "There's no way he was comfortable or slept a decent amount for 30 minutes." But he claimed he did. I asked him later. I was like, "Did you actually sleep?" And he was like, "Yeah, I slept." I'm like, "That's crazy," because like it's cold out there. Not 30s, but it's like it's hard to sleep in 45-degree weather when you don't have a jacket or something.
Yeah, and you've been keeping your body warm, and now your body doesn't have the energy to maintain its own heat.
Exactly. So I caught Brad. Right? I'm going to forget his name 100 times. But I caught Brad and was worried about him behind me because it was at the end of that loop. And at the end of the loop, there's a gravel road that you get on until Marfa, right?
Yeah.
Pretty
Well,
much.
it's gravel
it
until you get
turns
to,
into road.
oh God, what?
There's
Alamito.
Alamito. There's a water. There's a
Where
water
the water
cache.
cache was, and then it turns into pavement right around there. Yeah.
So I passed Brad, trying to like get away from him as fast as I can. I end up feeling good on that section of road, the gravel, and no, Dennis is ahead of me. So I'm like, I feel good. My legs are good. I feel pretty fresh. So I'm trying to go as fast as I can. Get to the water resupply, and pretty much all day my mind is like in that like chase Dennis down. Don't waste any time. I get to the water resupply. There was a couple there. They were like, "Hey, are you guys doing a race?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's like a bikepacking race." And she was like, "Do you want a cold water?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I had just filled up all my water. And so they gave me a cold water, and I was like, I feel like it'd be a waste to dump out some water and put it into like my lukewarm water and just have like kind of cold water. So I cracked it open and dumped it on myself. And that felt amazing. I tipped my hat back and like poured it into my helmet, and then dumped it all over my chest and my legs, and that was very refreshing. And they gave me a ginger ale as well, so that crushed. Because cold drinks out there are like, I don't know what to compare it to, but it's very euphoric to get a cold soda when you're really hot and sweaty. And so I chased Dennis into Marfa, and didn't really have service, so couldn't really tell how far I was. But I knew going into Marfa there would be a gas station, because I got there at like 3 p.m. It was the afternoon. The sun was still up and like things were still open. So I saw the gas station. The first gas station I saw, I stopped. Got a bunch of food because I had kind of not really run out of food the night before, like before Salcedo, the ranger station, but I was low and like went through more than I thought because we were going slow, and I was going slower than I thought I would. So I got to the gas station and was like, all right, I'm basically not going to make it to the ranger station again. I'm going to get as much food. I got like, family-sized Cheez-Its, family-sized M&Ms, family-sized Fritos, 4 Butterfingers. Those are my 2 like common denominators at this race. Were Butterfingers and Fritos. Had a bunch of those. It was like a weird combo, but it just worked. But yeah, I got a bunch of food, got a bunch of water, and was like, all right, it's time to chase Dennis on this road. And I knew the section out of Marfa with the first 30 miles is the first 30 miles of the Marfa 100K. Mm-hmm. So I was familiar with that, and it's just like rolling hills. It's super pretty. I did it during sunset.
Super pretty, yeah.
And was still like on the chase for Dennis because I knew he was probably going pretty fast because he's on a gravel bike. We've been on the road for like 70 miles at that point. And then Pinto Canyon was coming up, and I had no idea what that was going to be like, whether it was going to be like really bushwhacky or I saw there was a descent.
And to your glorious surprise.
It was like the perfect terrain to
So you must have hit it
down.
close to sunset then.
Yeah, I hit it probably right when it got dark. Like I remember turning my lights on right when I was like crossing the gravel road, going from pavement to gravel.
Nice.
Still didn't know how. I had gotten service on that stretch from like right out of Marfa, and I saw Dennis was like 6 miles ahead. So it went from a 20-mile gap in the morning to like a 10-mile gap by the time we left the Black Hills loop, and then by the time we were leaving Marfa, it was 6 miles. So I was like, okay, I'm gaining on him. Like he must be tired. I wonder why. Like, didn't sleep last night. So like, let me try and catch him even more on the Pinto Canyon descent. So on the Pinto Canyon descent, I let it rip. Like, I almost no brakes, as much as I could. The Pinto Canyon descent is very similar to a lot of the descents on the Divide. Just like very fast, a little chunky, but like something you can keep speed on and like, get speed going up or down a hill and then up a little like sharp climb. So I hauled ass as fast as I could through Pinto Canyon. And right at the end, I caught Dennis. Like, I saw his light and I was like, there he is. I was like, thank God, I've been chasing him all day. And I waited to pass him because I was like, I'm going to pass him right at the road. Like, I don't want to spook him too bad. So I waited maybe a quarter mile and I was like, fuck that. Like, I just like caught up to him. And I was like, hey, dude, how's it going? And I came up, rolled past him, and he was like, oh, hey, how are you doing? Well, first I asked how he was doing. He did not respond. And then he was like, how are you doing? I was like, oh, I'm great. I'm doing great. Like, I slept 5 hours last night. Like, I'm trying to like get into his head a little bit. I'm like, oh, I slept for 5 hours last night. I had a burger. Like, and
This is the mind game with the
this
burger.
is when the mind game starts. And I was like, that descent was awesome, wasn't it? He was like, yeah. And he probably did not have as much of a good time as I did. I was like, yeah, that descent was so fast. It was so sick. He was like, yeah, sure. And I was like, what's your plan for the night? And he was like, oh, like, I think I'm going to like try and finish this thing. And I was like, okay, cool. Yeah. He was like, what about you? And I was like, well, a burger at the ranger station sounds really good tonight. So like, I might roll up there, take the little detour, get a burger, and then
that last burger was so good. I can't stop thinking about it.
Try to finish it tonight as well. And he was like, okay, cool. And then we hit the road, and there's that house with like the little spigot of like the jug of water. And we like both stopped there.
Shout out to Charlotte. Thank you, Charlotte.
Very pivotal, yeah. So we both stop. He like pulls out a burrito. I refill my water. I think he refills his water too. And it felt like the race was like starting again. It was like me and Dennis both stopped at this like, cross section of road that was, I looked at, if you know what Epic Ride Weather app is, it'll show you all. I'm a big wind freak.
I love it. Yeah.
I like knowing where the wind is going to be going. So
Literally just like on a weekend ride, I'll get a text from Kyle the night before, be like, have you looked at the wind?
The wind, we got a massive tailwind tomorrow. It's going to be awesome. But yeah, I looked at the wind app just because I knew that 50-mile stretch of road would be either really hard or very fast or somewhere in between. And when I looked, it was before Pinto Canyon. And it was like Pinto Canyon had a little bit of a crosswind, a little bit of a headwind. But the second you hit the road, it was like a 25-mile-an-hour tailwind. And I was like, sick. So I mentioned that to Dennis as we were like rolling down to the road. I was like, oh, we're about to have a crazy tailwind. He was like, really? I was like, yeah, we're going to have a crazy tailwind. So we got to the road, refilled up on water. I took off before he did. I think he got water second or something. And he quickly caught up to me and passed me pretty fast. And I was like, okay, I'm on a gravel bike or I'm on a mountain bike with very low pressure right now. We do have a massive tailwind, but like I'm going to try and keep him in my sight as long as I can without blowing up. So it was like 50 miles of road, and I lost sight of him in the first like 5 miles. He took off pretty quick, but I knew if I just stayed at a steady pace, I could keep the gap between I wanted to keep it within 5 miles. And I was checking my phone. I had service the whole time on that road. And I was checking my phone, and I was like, okay, he's a half a mile away. Okay, he's a mile away. Okay, he's a mile and a half away. He was definitely creating a gap. But I knew we were going back into the state park for a long time. Yeah. And I was like, I know I'm going to catch him there. So I just have to like make sure he doesn't get 15 miles away or something unmanageable. Didn't stop. I didn't stop from Marfa for more than 15 minutes through the state park and into that night. And maybe up until the gas station before the death loop. I took a 15-minute nap after I took that caffeine pill because I felt terrible. But yeah, I was like on the gas trying to chase Dennis down. And the second I passed Dennis, we can get to that. But do the 50-mile stretch of road, managing the gap with Dennis. I don't stop at any of the gas stations through town, which was so tempting.
Wow, in Presidio?
Yeah. I was like,
that is crazy.
I was like, I need a Dr. Pepper, but I was like, I can't let Dennis get away. And if I had known how slow or how big the difference of speed was going to be, I probably would have taken 5 minutes, but I didn't know. And I was like, I can't let him get away on the road. So blew through Presidio, got to the state park road climb or the gravel climb when you get back on the dirt, and was like trying really hard and like thought I was like, getting even closer and closer. that was right after I realized my tracker was dead. So I turned my tracker on probably 5 miles before I took that left to go up the road or the gravel climb. And yeah, I was like, everyone thinks I'm probably dead in Marfa. Like, I've been chasing Dennis down for the whole afternoon and no one even knows it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got my tracker.
I was wondering. I was like, where did Kyle
I don't know
go?
what happened.
Yeah.
It must have died, or like I like leaned on something and turned it off, or I have no idea. But yeah, tracker just turned off, and then I turned it back on and popped back up on the dot, and I could see myself like how far I was from Dennis, and it was like half a mile. He got on the road climb, or he got on the gravel climb. Chased him up there. Thought I saw him at the water cache that is that intersection, but it was Randy Whittle. Shout out to Randy.
Dude, fully rigid, single speed, coaster brake.
Coaster brake. It was crazy.
And he was taking epic photos all along the way.
Yeah. He's legend.
Next level.
When I saw him, and the first thing I asked, I didn't say, "Hi, Randy." I didn't say anything like that. I was like, "Have you seen Dennis?" And he was like, "No, I haven't." And I was like, "Damn," like, I thought he was Dennis, and I was like, "Damn, okay, well, like, how are you doing?" I don't know. I didn't ask him how he was doing. I was very concerned with like where Dennis was and how fast I needed to get water.
Yeah.
And I saw Randy later on the next day, and I apologized. I was like, "I'm so sorry. I didn't ask how you were doing. I was just so focused on where Dennis was." And yeah, got water. Didn't refill my hydration bladder. Just the 2 bottles. And that was kind of me just being in a rush. Like, I think I thought about it, but I didn't think through it. I was like, "Oh, I have this empty pack. No, I don't need it." Filled up my bottles and was like, good to go. Which was a mistake, but not like a, catastrophic one. And then, yeah, I took a caffeine pill at that water stop and then was like, I'm good to go. Like, I'm about to rip and catch Dennis right now. Mm-hmm. And took off, and I hadn't eaten food in a minute because I had gone pretty hard through the 50-mile stretch, and then was just like back on it and like back on the pedals.
Do you know what time it was when you took the caffeine pill?
Midnight.
Okay.
Because I remember telling
so we're
myself,
still in the middle of the night. Okay.
Yeah, I told myself at midnight I'll take a caffeine pill because I'd taken one at like 5 p.m. So I didn't want to get too back to back. Took it at midnight, and by 12:30 I felt like shit. I was just like tired, not even tired. Well, no, tired, kind of like lethargic, low energy. I guess those are all kind of the same thing, but yeah, ended up stopping. I was like, I need to eat food. Like, I need to put something in my body. I need to drink water. I need to just like reset a little bit. So I sat down for like 10, 15 minutes. And I remember I laid like this, like a goalpost. Like, I just laid and like my feet were straight out, and I was just like a zombie on the ground. It was like eating food and drinking while I was laying there. And then I was like, I have to keep moving. So I got up and made a deal with myself. I was like, as long as I'm moving forward, whether I'm walking, didn't matter like the grade, or if I'm soft pedaling or rolling down the hill, like whatever it is, I just need to keep moving forward, and I'll feel better eventually because I just ate a bunch of food and drank a bunch of water. So it'll kick in. And then I watched the tracker replay again last night, and you can see where it clicked and like I started to feel better, and it was at the T where I could have taken the 2.5 mile detour to the ranger station or kept going to chase Dennis. And I got there, and I genuinely was confused because I thought the ranger station was right there. I was like, oh, there's no 2.5 mile detour. Like, the ranger station's right there. I'm just going to stop and get a burger legitimately. And I got there and was like, oh, I now see the 2.5 mile detour. And I was like, I got food, I got water, I'm good. Like, I'm going to go for Dennis. So that's when I kind of turned it back on, caught Dennis. And it was like, right before I stopped for 10 minutes, I caught him by like a quarter mile. Like, I could see his light on a little climb, and I was like, okay, like I've got him in my sights. Like, I have him within a mile. I feel comfortable enough to like stop for 15 minutes and just like chill. Because he's not going to be going any faster because it's all off road and it's just like getting worse. So yeah, I laid down, ended up catching him on like a G out. So it was like a really sharp downhill, and then you just kind of hit the bottom of it. It might have been a creek bed or something, and then you go up a hill that's like twice the size of the one you just went down. And so if you pedal through the bottom of it, you can make it almost halfway up the climb on a mountain bike, and like have momentum, and then you can start climbing halfway up. And so I did that, and I came over the hill, I saw him, I pedaled down, went through the bottom of it, and pedaled halfway up the climb, And he was like, you can climb so much faster than me. And I was like, it's because I'm on a mountain bike. I was like, you should be on a mountain bike too, dude. And he was like, yeah, I should. And then I didn't see him again. And I was like,
Then you took off.
then I took off. And I knew, like, I remember thinking, like, I was going to let the gap take care of itself because there was just like, it was a matter of fact that I could ride certain things that he couldn't. So everything I was riding that I was like, this is hard for me. There's no way he's going to be riding it. That's an extra minute. Like there's an extra minute. There's an extra 5 minutes because I'm walking it or something like that.
Plus, you pushed him. He wasn't sleeping, and he had ran out of water at that point. And the reason that all that was happening is because you were pushing him the whole time, and he fucking knew it, And so the battle between y'all was super intense.
Yeah, and I was kind of hoping I had really made him put an all-out effort on the road because I was chasing him and he knew I was behind me and he took off. And I was like, that's a really hard effort to hold on to for, 50 miles, even with the tailwind. And when he came back to the Ghost Town restaurant, High Sierra.
When
he came back to High Sierra, he was like, and I gave it an all-out effort on that road and was gassed by the time I hit the dirt road. And I was like, I was banking on that.
Yeah.
And I didn't gas myself on the road. I was just like,
because he knew that was his chance. That was only his opportunity was to go all out because he was always going to be slow going through the state park.
Exactly.
So his only opportunity was to go full out on that straight. Dude, what a fucking race.
Yeah.
Like the dot watching was... I was doing all the math. Like we were all heading around because I know the route. And so I was like, single track here. He slept. We got this section here. I was like, this is a real race. And at the same time, Hannah, I was watching your dot. And I mean, I never counted you out of it. You weren't that far behind. But as I went back and rewatched, I have to apologize to Robert Shine because I didn't realize how close you and Robert Shine were the entire race. And there was a whole nother battle going on for third place that I kind of, sorry, Robert, I wasn't. It is really hard when you're running a race and like rescuing people and cooking hamburgers to like know exactly what's going on at all times. But I was like, okay, Hannah, you're in the field. I'm like, Hannah has an overall win opportunity potential. Like I'm not going to count you out as an overall winner. And even coming out of the aid station, y'all were together.
Yeah.
And you were a little bit far behind, but I never counted you out. Where were you at in your like race strategy, like coming out of that aid station?
Yeah. I mean, I think so. Like I mentioned from the beginning, I was like, oh, I want to race. Like I'm trying to race. Also, like being the only woman in the showdown field, I was like, the things that I'm racing are like men and the clock. And so I knew that I still wanted to do well and try my best. And I think I was doing that. It felt good getting to Sauceda that second time and like choosing my strategy, because I think my overall goal as an athlete at this point in the ultra scene is to try to be strong and fast enough that I can sleep and then catch up. And I think I'm somewhere in the middle of that journey. There have been a couple of times that it's worked for me, and it's good to hear it working for Kyle too in this particular context, because I will not get on the soapbox of how sleep deprivation is bullshit and not worth it, but it's bullshit and not worth it. So I want to get to the point of being able to sleep and catch effectively. And I was kind of trying to employ that a little bit on this race as well, just knowing that I was like the only woman in the field and wanting to finish just within the time frame as well. So leaving Sauceda, I could tell that Kyle was feeling good and ready to go, and I knew he was going to pull away from me. I was kind of banking on, like I said earlier, the fact that I know how he rides, and I was like, I can catch him later and it'll be okay. But man, I hit that Black Hills section and my mental just plummeted. And I think it was because, like I mentioned, having these flashbacks to Arizona Trail and being in a state of why am I doing this? And everything looks the same. And I'm not having a good time riding my bike at this point. I think that was the section of route that was okay, this is hard to be hard, and I'm having a hard time justifying it. And so I think that's really when I just like mentally plummeted. I don't think I was that far away from the rest of the field at that point. But I knew that I needed to like pick myself back up and like turn it around, and, you know, got out of that section, got onto that section of gravel and hit the pavement, refilled water there, and like took off toward Marfa thinking like, okay, first of all, now like I've wasted so much time in this section that like I got to book it to Marfa to make sure things are open for me when I get there. I think it was like 3 p.m. at that point. And so I like took off on that road, checked and saw like at the time Kyle and Brad's dots were both stuck there. And then I got a little worried. I was like, Kyle, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why aren't you moving yet? But got to Marfa right around sunset. Like the sunset was just starting. Fucking beautiful sunset, by the way. It was like poetic rolling into Marfa. Like, you know, going by the big Judd like concrete blocks and like seeing all the like artifacts of Marfa and like just I don't know, I was like being a little whimsy rolling in there. And then got to Lowe's. They closed at 7. I think I got to Lowe's at like 5:45 or 6, the local grocery store there. Got my haul. Similar to Kyle, I knew that I wasn't gonna try to go back to the aid station, and I knew that I needed to have everything with me. Got my protein shake, got my bag of Lay's chips, and another set of just like random bars that would be somewhat appetizing at some point. I think they were like Belvita or something. Not the good ones. We both love the same Belvita bars, but
They're
anyway,
so good.
I digress. At that point, I was like, okay, I love Marfa and I love all the things it has to offer, but like right now, all I need is Dairy Queen. Went across the street to Dairy Queen, sat down, had a chicken strip sandwich, like called Eric to check on him because I also hadn't heard from him at that point. He had gotten back to Sauceda and was like called it quits and decided to like make food for everybody and keep the energy up there. So it's nice to talk to him. And then again, I was confused because I was like, why is Kyle's dot still here? And I looked instead at Find My Friends at his location.
Oh, did you?
Because I was like, there's no way, like unless him, because he and Brad were like in the same little section right outside of town. On the tracker. And I was like, this doesn't make any sense unless he decided like, oh, I'm just going to sleep because it got dark at that point. And so I looked at Find My Friends and he was not in town anymore. It had done the like when you go out of range, like at 1 hour ago he was here and I was like, oh, my guy's racing.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'm going to have my Dairy Queen moment. And then
did that take pressure off you, or did that make you want to go chase him? Like
it was a little bit of both. I think it was like it meant I wasn't going to stay in Marfa for any amount of time. And I don't always hinge it
Can I go pee real
on
quick?
that.
Yeah. Go pee.
Please.
Oh, so sorry.
do you want us to pause or can she
No, keep
okay,
going.
okay.
Okay, cool. But yeah, I don't love to hinge that decision on like, okay, there are dots here staying or not. But once I saw that Kyle was moving, I was like, okay, I'm also going to move. Because then again, it's the race against the clock more than anything.
Yeah.
And it was dark out and I was bummed. I was like trying to do the mental math of like, okay, I heard the Pinto Canyon's the prettiest part of this route. And like, it's only 6 p.m., but it's dark outside. And like, there's no way, like for the next 12 hours, it's going to be dark outside. Like it doesn't make any sense to like dilly dally long enough to see Pinto Canyon in the daytime.
Yeah.
So I was bummed about that, but I decided to leave Marfa and knock out as much of that road as I could. Got through the road section into Pinto Canyon, got through Pinto Canyon, and also kind of like turned it around for myself and was like, look at how beautiful the stars are out here. Like I stopped and like turned off all my lights and just looked up and was
I
like,
love that.
this is a different version of this place that also will not, always be accessible because that's the private land part of the route too. And so I tried to like, pump myself up and be like, you got to see it and it's beautiful just in a different way, even if it's dark outside. And like Kyle said too, the riding through there was very much like, okay, we're ripping down like pretty chunky descents. As long as I'm like alert and paying attention, then I can totally like get through this section of route pretty quick, and was having fun again, which was like the other big thing for me in that piece. Came out of Pinto Canyon, and then that section of road to get to Presidio, I was riding and like teetering on the like kind of falling asleep, kind of like not feeling great. And that was my moment of like, okay, this is not worth it. Like, it's not worth it to keep pushing myself if I know that, first of all, there's like not very many people behind me, if anyone.
There's one.
Yeah, there's one. And I need to take care of myself first and foremost, because again, always trying to get to the finish and also trying to do so as safely as possible. So I stopped on that road toward Presidio, probably around 1 a.m., I'd say. Found like a yield sign that I could lean my bike against and like rolled out my sleep kit and like slept for 2 hours. Probably was stopped for a little longer than that, like maybe 3 hours total. And I heard Robert go by me. I didn't know who it was at the time, but I heard him go by.
At what point in the 3 hour pause?
It was probably like halfway through, I'd say. And again, too, I like kind of silly, I guess, but I was like, I don't need to get third. Like, I'm going to get first in the women's field, and then they can have all the pretty trophies for 1 through 3, and I can get the women's first place trophy.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's kind of honestly where my brain was.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I slept, and then was looking to see what was going to be open in Presidio, because at that point I like knew that I wanted some kind of real food, because real food makes a big difference for me. And yeah, got into Presidio at like 6 a.m. Went a little off route to a Valero like travel stop. They had breakfast burritos that were glorious. Got 2 of those, got a hot coffee, like sat in the gas station. The gas station attendant's like, so what are you doing? And I had to kind of explain the situation to him. He was like, cool. All right. Yeah. Hang on. Yeah, do whatever you need. You know, yeah. Like, I'm sitting at this table and like all the chairs are like covered in little, like Santa, gear, you know, everything is, festive and good, and I'm sitting there like just dirty and bloody and yard sale plugged in. So anyway, it was classic ultra moment, and really wonderful to have that opportunity to stop in there in Presidio. That's like when Kyle said he didn't stop in Presidio, I was like, good God, that was like,
yeah, that's a long haul.
It was hard not
long
to. I was like, if there's a gas station literally on the sidewalk, I'll go in for a second. But like anything that was any kind of off route, I was like, no.
Yeah.
No.
Well, and there wasn't much open. Like the odd hours in Presidio, there's not a whole lot open. So that's why I had to kind of go up off route a little bit. But yeah, got that last resupply there, and took off on the road again.
Did you get sorry to interrupt you. Did you get a tailwind that night? When you first
No.
Y'all got it.
We got it, dude. Wow.
You hit the correct,
because the wind usually dies at night.
It was so
yeah.
it was
well, it got windier for me.
Really?
Like leaving Marfa going toward Pinto Canyon, it was just like throwing me all kinds of directions, and I was like, cool, all right.
It was just like rolling hills the whole time.
Yeah. When I at some point realized I was on the Marfa 100 route, I've also ridden that because it was pitch black outside. I was like, oh, I kind of know what this is, but. Yeah. I think it was nice to hit the road sections at night because it was like, I don't know, it felt like it didn't take as long, I guess. But that is why I decided to stop and sleep, because on a road section, I can't get myself to stay awake because I'm not focused on anything. I'm just going, and there was no one on that road. Like when I stopped and slept for that 2 hours, the only thing that went by me was Robert.
Yeah.
There were no cars.
The only thing you're likely to see is a border patrol driving, if anything.
It was right there, right? It's on the quad.
Yeah, it's right there on the.
It's right on the Rio Grande. Yeah,
like to your right is Mexico.
Yeah, you throw a rock and hit it.
Yeah.
How aware of you? Like, were you paying attention to Robert's dot? Were you paying attention to Kyle's dot, or were you just having your own race?
At that point, I hadn't checked anything. I knew, like I said, that he had passed me, or that somebody had passed me, and I wasn't really concerned anymore. Like I said, I was like, "Oh, how nice! They'll have a little podium, and everybody will get their trophies, and then I can come in." 4th overall and first woman. So I really wasn't worried at that point. And I also knew that there was a big old section of state park still left. And I was like, you're just going to have to get through that. I'd gotten a mild warning from Kyle via text.
I sent her an SOS text. I was like, she has to know about this. I was like, I have to warn her.
Well, and you gave me the wrong mile marker, by the way.
Did I?
Yeah. So he told
yeah,
me.
you told me about
He
this.
was like 320 is a bushwhack fest, like Godspeed. And I was like, cool. I got that text when I was sitting in the gas station in Presidio. And I was like, all right, cool. So that's happening. And then I got to 320 and it was fine. And I was
it
like,
3:30?
oh,
Yeah,
it was 3:30. I was like, oh, it was just dark. Kyle was just having a hard time because it was dark. And so I mentioned I followed that Jeep kind of through that track there. And I was letting the Jeep get ahead of me because I was like, they'll clear it out and maybe it'll be less bushwhacky. It was just the wrong mile marker. We got to Javelin Camp, where the actual bushwhacking started. They stopped to have their lunch, and then I turned off onto what was supposed to be a trail and simply was not. And started the actual bushwhacking right around 3:30, and had a similar moment of just like, what the fuck am I doing?
I said, what is this? Probably 100, like legitimately. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
Like, what? Where's the trail?
Yeah.
That's a section we're calling Fuck Patrick Trail.
Yes. Yeah.
I put that one on the route. Andrew Honorma put the other one. So,
those are my two low points.
But yeah, those are two rough sections.
Yeah.
And you do all the fucking not a trail,
Mm-hmm.
and you're
It's
going
only like 2
up.
miles. It's
Yeah,
not that
only
long,
2 or
but
3
it
miles.
feels long because
And
you're.
then you get to the top and you're like, all right, there's going to be some downhill.
Yeah.
And it's bullshit downhill.
It does trend downhill. I found myself having a little bit of momentum in the wash because I was like, oh, like
The
I'm not.
wash is where you can really start ripping.
Yeah, like I wasn't going slow. I mean, I wasn't like having to work very hard to get through the wash. It was just like technical and rocky and sandy.
And it's really pretty down in there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was nighttime when I did it, so I couldn't see much.
yeah.
But
Yeah. It was pretty. I saw
That's
it
why I
during the
left
day
on the
as well.
route, because it's like 2.5 miles of bullshit, real bullshit.
Yeah.
And then it gets a lot better from there.
And
Yeah.
my goal going through that section was getting to the trail I'd already done because I was like, there's no way
Me
it can be
too.
worse because I've already done it and I know it's not worse because this is the worst part.
That's because I rode up, Fresno, and then I looped back around and came down that way. And I was like, just get your goddamn tire tracks. I'm like, once I saw my tire tracks from the day before, I was so happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because before that, like I was like scouting the route. So I literally didn't know. When y'all knew or when y'all went, at least somebody's been down here and they know it goes somewhere.
I saw some tire tracks and that gave me like a peace of mind because I was like, am I like, is my GPS messing up? Am I messing up? Like, where did I go wrong where I'm off the trail?
I was worried about that.
And then every like quarter mile, I would see like 2 big swoops in the sand. I'm like, oh, those are bike tires. Okay. Someone has been down here at some point.
Yeah.
So there's no way I can be that far off.
Yeah. I was seeing 2 tracks, I think. And I was thinking at the time, like, okay, Kyle and Dennis. Like, somewhere at some point, I must have passed the person that passed me. And I'm following Kyle and Dennis through this. And there were a couple of times it took me the wrong way. And I was like, okay, I need to stop following that. and
I took myself the
focus
wrong way a few
myself.
times.
Yeah, exactly. But then got back onto state park terrain that I knew, like came back down that canyon I mentioned earlier, saw some feral donkeys, got back onto part of the route that we had actually also doubled back again, back on a dome loop. And
Dome loop, sick.
Yeah, that was great.
High moment for sure.
I love dome loop. It's close
You
enough.
said you caught
that
it at
everybody,
sunset,
I
right?
caught it at sunset both times that I hit it on the route.
Both times.
The first night at sunset, headed back to Sauceda for the second time. And then the last night I hit it at sunset. And again, that little poetic moment of like, okay, it's all going to be okay. I'm like, I know at this point that this trail is rideable and I'll get out to the like water cache. And I've only got that 20-mile death loop left. And I will say when I hit, so it was going through, there's like that cottonwood grove that you hit on your way back down that you go up the first time, you come down through there. It's like really close to Madrid Falls, I think.
Yeah.
And
very
the
close.
Cottonwood Grove, I hit that and it was like really pretty outside. I think it was like 3 or 4 p.m. Yeah, it was like 4:30. And then I looked at my hammerhead and I was like, how many miles do I have left? And I saw it was like 50 miles to go. And it had taken me like 2 or 3 or maybe longer hours to get the last 10 miles before that. And that's when I crashed out. And I was like, I've got 50 more miles. God damn it. And that's when I like kicked my ass into gear.
Oh, yeah.
And then by the time I got to Deathloop and I looked at the tracker for the first time in however long and saw that Kyle had finished and Dennis had scratched. And I was like, oh, I'm in second place now.
Yeah.
I just got to get there and finish the Deathloop. But as I was coming out of the Deathloop with my, had my groove on, I saw a light coming toward me. And it was really sweet. It was Robert. And he goes, am I going the wrong way? No way. It was so funny. And I was like, no, you got a ways to go. Like, I just ripped through that. And I was like, don't worry, it's going to be shitty for a little while. And then you'll hit the track and hopefully you'll be able to like hold on to it and see it the way that I did. And like, you got this, dude. Like, cause at that point I was like, I knew Kyle had finished. I knew I was going to finish. And I was rooting for this random guy who was also going to like finish out this podium of this fucked up race.
Hell yeah.
If you ever think you can't podium with Debrim on, he made that possible.
He did it.
He had a Debrim on, and those are like notoriously kind of like
touristy.
Yeah, just like a thing tours do, or like you're like it gives the vibe that you're chill or whatever, and like
and he had on like Hawaiian shirt and
swag
everything.
out.
So much stuff on his bike.
Yeah, it was so sick.
Yeah.
Also a hardtail.
Yeah, but he won the swag award in my heart. For
sure.
the showdown.
Yeah. And came in, he finished at 3:30 in the morning, right?
Yeah, DFL.
Yeah. You were there.
Me, his wife, and Carol were the only ones there. And
I heard y'all cheering.
Dude,
I had just laid down.
Dude, I would, fucking rock star, man. To gut it out like that. I mean, everybody who finished, just rock star, but there's a special place in all of our hearts for DFL. The last guy out there, and we stayed up for an hour and a half. He was in great spirits, had a great time.
Good.
I mean, that was the story from everybody that I talked to. Everybody, no matter scratch or no scratch, people really embrace that experience and were ready to come back next year, training harder, the right bikes, that kind of thing. But everybody had it all came down to mindset. People were in the right mindset for taking on that, and whether they knew what they were getting into or not. I just have to commend everybody for bringing the right mindset to that, because without that, I don't know, it would have sucked. But if you have the right mindset, it's good.
Did you wear gloves?
No. I had gloves. Eric gave me gloves, and I put them on at some point. And then I think maybe I put them on at night, because I ended up putting on my rain jacket and my gloves, I think, just when it got like chilly while you were moving.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, everything I do, I'm like, it's not as bad as the Arizona Trail. And in this situation, I was like ripping through cat claw, like no gloves, no pants, like just I have to do it.
Anytime I took my gloves off, I would just cut my hands up. I'm like, why do I have my gloves off?
No, I'm still
I
just
wore
cut
gloves
up from it.
Yeah, most of the time.
All right, let's start tying a bow on this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's just talk about the finish line real quick. Kyle, when you finished, that's the most electricity I've ever felt in a field ever that I've been a part of, either as the director or anything else. Like, the excitement was palpable. And when you came in, dude, I didn't even know you did a little bounce on your front tire. I thought it was just an endo, but they actually got, I don't even know which photographer. I think it was Ben that got that shot. It was Ben, right? That actually got you in the air on your, what do we even call it? It's an endo bouncy? Like, I don't know.
I call it a stoppy.
Little stoppy?
Yeah.
I thought that was just where you stop, but it's,
yeah.
I used to do it when I was like back in my BMX days. These days, I let that go a long time ago.
I don't know what I would call stoppy, little stoppy hop.
We'll call it a stoppy hop.
Yeah, a little stoppy hop.
You did one of those. Shout out to
KG
Evan
special.
Lee, who came in second, slow down single speed. On a single speed bike, he rode a goddamn wheelie across the
way.
I mean, he held it.
That's sick.
And we were like, holy, we were just expecting a little pop up.
Right.
That dude freaking, woo. I was like, dang, dude, all right.
I think you should have a new award that is like
the
best finishing.
Most stylish
best
finish.
finishing.
We'll make it happen just for
That'd be
you.
cool.
Yeah. How was the finish for you?
It was great. I stopped 10 miles before to make sure, one, my tracker was on, to make sure you guys knew I was coming.
Yeah.
And two, I was like, again, like needed to eat food just to like get through the last 10 miles. It was hot. I think I finished at like 1 o'clock. But yeah, the second I came over the hill, I was just like ecstatic. I saw all you guys standing on like at the edge of the parking lot, screaming, ringing bells. I came down, took a corner into the parking lot way too fast, and was like, "Do not crash your bike right now."
I saw that on the drone. I saw you recorrect a little.
I was going too fast, and I was like, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god!" I was like, and I held it together, and everything was fine. And I rolled up, and Ariel was like, "Kiss the camera," and I was like, "What?" So I gave it a high five because I didn't. I mean, he wanted. It was a cool transition when he made that clip on Instagram.
Yeah.
But yeah, rolled in, saw Ariel. You were stoked with the megaphone. Gave me the biggest hug.
Dude.
Everyone was like cheering, and yeah,
I
was
gave you the
stoked.
biggest hug I've ever given
Gave you
anyone.
two hugs.
Ever.
Gave you two
I
hugs.
gave you two.
Yeah.
Like I could have made love to you right then. Like anything you wanted, it would have happened. Yeah.
It was definitely up there in experiences of finishing. And like I feel like in my head I pictured it. I was trying not to because I didn't want to get ahead of myself. But I was like, okay, if I finish first, like what am I gonna do? Like how? Like am I gonna? I wanted in my head the whole time. I was like, I'm gonna finish. I'm gonna scream as loud as I can because I'm gonna be that excited. Yeah. And I finished and I didn't scream. I just like did a little bunny hop and I was just like so happy to like see Ariel, see you. And just to like kind of be done and to have like done the thing and like won the race. Because I'd never done that before. It was super sick.
And now, what a fucking race to win!
Yeah.
And the way you fucking did it, you came out strong out of the gate. No blowups. You managed your race so well. You took care of yourself. Your strategy was on point. I mean, dude, I will never get over that, it was a special experience for me as a race director. Again, full circle, having both y'all in my first ever race I've ever done, going 1 and 2. I mean,
it's a movie.
It's a fucking movie. Like, when are we going to make this movie?
Yeah.
I hope to have a film crew. I'm working on having a film crew do the whole race series next year.
Sick.
And then do like a little video after each one, but the full length whenever it's all done. So come back and we'll make a movie out of it. Let's redo it.
Cool. Run it back.
Hannah, you finished. I got to give you credit for the strongest finish. Kyle was like, he knew it. I mean, it was so good. When you finished, it was nighttime. And so all we could see is like, like your handlebars and your
finish.
lights. I mean, she was freaking hauling ass at the end. And again, we were all just so hyped. I mean, this podium 1 and 2, like, how fucking cool. So how was the finish for you?
Yeah. It was great. Like I said, hitting the death loop, I felt like I got my groove and I was like warmed up. So I think when I hit the pavement to get back into Terlingua, I was thinking of this conversation that I had with some folks recently about like truly and actually like emptying the tank, like really doing it.
Yeah.
And it's something that like in ultra, I don't know that I've ever really done. Like, I've gotten to the point of like, okay, I'm over it and I'm ready for it to be done. But my like physical limit, like really truly hitting that. And so I told myself in that last like 10 miles of pavement getting into Terlingua, I was like, okay, we're going to empty this tank. And I think I kept that momentum for the most part. I was like really pushing myself because then it was also like getting to be like 11 o'clock at night. And I was like, okay, these people are literally just like waiting for me to show up. So I need to kick it into gear for that reason. But I also knew like it's not an easy 10 miles. Like you've got at least 4 or 5 more climbs on that road.
Yeah. That big climb y'all did on the way back, you're doing.
Yes, you're doing it. Yeah, you're going up the backside of that.
Yeah,
and so I knew it was going to challenge me. And I just like put my head down, decided to do it. I saw a light in front of me at some point, and I was like, who's that? What's going on there? And realized later it was the last slowdowner was in front of me. And he was funny because he was like, I saw your light and I thought you were going to catch me and we could finish together in this whole bit. I like didn't know who you were, what was going on. But at the top of that last hill, like the top of the climb that you start on, I stopped and I do this thing where I like to brush my teeth when I go to finish a race. It's just like a comfort thing where I feel gross and everything about me is like tired and nasty. And I just like brushing my teeth because it's one thing I can do. Yeah. So I stopped at the top of that hill and I brushed my teeth.
Oh, nice.
And that's when he decided to just leave me alone because he was like, I don't know what that person did. They disappeared. And then that last, I think it's like 2.5 miles, like busted my ass in. That last climb that you saw me really pumping on was like me being like, okay, the tank is still not empty. I don't know if I actually emptied it, but I'm gonna bust my ass up this last hill, and was greeted with one of the biggest crowds, which like I've been very fortunate in my ultra experience to have a lot of people at a lot of finishes. That one though, there was a whole crowd, everybody screaming. I even said in the video to Patrick, like, you were so extra, because there was a little piece in the back of my mind where I was like, I don't want to build up an expectation and then like roll in and there's only like there's nobody or only a few people. But yeah, rolling up and hearing everyone like just lit me up. It was crazy.
I love it. Yeah, we had a big finish or a big group when you finished. I loved it. You just stood around and held court and answered questions.
Yeah, it was awesome.
You were there for it. Oh yeah, I do want to ask you, because you're not going to offend me, but so twice now in a row you finished and you said the same thing. You are so extra. So I'm fine being extra, but also like I've said this about myself. I have a really difficult time transitioning from like the solitude of bike packing into like people, but to transition from the solitude into somebody yelling at you on a microphone, I've never had that, but it's gotta be like, what the fuck, you know?
Yeah.
If you want me to tone it down for you when you finish, I'll tone it down a little out of respect.
No. I think it's the thing where you also a lot of the time don't know what to do or say when you do something. I think about this because I've never done like performance in my life, but I love going to see my friends who are like actors or singers, or you go to their show and then afterward you like see them and they're like standing there and everybody's standing around them and everybody's like, good job, and you kind of like this awkward, like, what do I do or what do I say? And this is the closest version I have of that, is like finishing a race and there being people there. And so I think it's just my gut reaction to be like, Patrick, it's midnight interlingual. You're going to wake the whole town up. Like, don't. But it's like, that's the excitement that I can't give myself that feels really good coming from other people.
Yeah. No, so that's fair.
That's my so extra is just like, oh my gosh, I'm like embarrassed. Like, I don't know what to do with this energy.
I would feel
but
in the
best way. Yeah.
Okay.
No, it felt good.
Let's quick fire some listener questions.
Good. Okay.
Quick fire round. Let's see.
I will say, can I say one thing?
Oh yeah.
If I had to give any advice on how to prepare yourself for the terrain in West Texas, because it's in West Texas, you can't really get there very easily. If you live in Austin and you ride the Greenbelt, the Violet Crown Trail is a decent comparison to the technicality that's in West Texas. It's different for sure in a lot of ways. But if you can confidently ride the Violet Crown Trail specifically, and even some of the offshoots that are a little bit more technical or loose or steep, then I feel like you could have a good amount of confidence going into West Texas, knowing you can ride 75 to 80% of the terrain. You're going to walk. Everyone has to walk at some point. But that was one thing. On a side note, I did El Paso Puzzler like 4 years ago, and it's a 50-mile endurance mountain bike race in El Paso. And I had someone tell me, and they were like, if you can ride the Greenbelt, you can do El Paso Puzzler. And the El Paso Puzzler is kind of similar. It's in the desert. It's, the Franklin Mountains. It's pretty technical and loose. But yeah, if you wanted to like gauge your handling skills or technical ability, or wanted to get better at it, and you live in Austin, the Greenbelt is a great place to kind of shake that out. But I don't know about anywhere else in Texas, or like Arkansas is pretty technical here and there, but I can't speak for that personally. But I
think you just need to get on like Flat Rock Ranch, Reveille Peak Ranch, go to Cameron Park. Like I'm working on training for Doom now, starting tomorrow.
Nice.
And I had a friend make me a Doom route at Cameron Park. It's an hour and a half away. But it was Thomas Allen, my girlfriend's brother. He was our low-down sweeper and mechanic for that ride. And he's from that area. And I was like, whatever easy trail is out there, make it go backwards. Like give me like a hard, gnarly loop that I can go out there and hit 3 or 4. I don't know how many times. He's working on putting it together. Anyway, but I think, as much mountain biking fitness as you can bring into Big Bend, the better. And just find something and hit it as much as you can. But the better you are at being a mountain biker, the more enjoyable your experience is going to be. And I'm with you. Like, I'm a mountain biker first. That's where if I was going to brag on anything, it's I'm a pretty competent mountain biker. And I love that extreme riding. But for people who aren't as competent on a mountain bike, get some competency.
For sure. Yeah, it's going to make it a lot more enjoyable.
It'll more enjoyable, you know, less walking. I think we covered most of these. Let's see. Any low, Hannah, you had a couple low moments. Black Hills was one of them. But Kyle, we didn't really hear of any like low moments from you. Did you have any, like real low moments?
Yeah, when Dennis caught me the first night, I was like pretty tired and like scared and exhausted, just because I had worked really hard that day and was nervous that I had blown myself up. So it was a low moment in that I just felt like I needed to stop for an hour and just like take a beat. And then the next lowest moment, the only time I thought about turning around, or I don't remember if it was turning around because I hated it or turning around because I was unsure if I was on the right trail, was in that bushwhacky section. But I just like had to, that was probably my lowest moment, was like just being like, what the hell is this? Like there's no trail. I'm so bloody right now. Like, exhausted. I took that video and that one I sent to you of me in the red light. Hey, Patrick, you can't see me. It's dark. But about mile 330, there's a, 4.5 mile stretch where you like go through a bunch of bushes and thorns and fucking cactus and all kinds of shit. And then you get in the riverbed, and that's better because they're not getting fucked up. There's also no trail. I'm about to be out of it, but it is not for the faint of heart. I don't know if you've ridden this section, but you should come walk it because that's all I've been doing. That's about it. That was probably my lowest moment. I felt good physically most of the time. There was like moments where I like was a little dehydrated or like a little like undernourished, but it never really like brought me down super low. I take that back. The lowest moment I had was after I took that 200 milligram caffeine pill. That was the low moment. Yeah, I felt like trash.
Caffeine on empty stomach.
Yeah, no sleep. It wasn't like, through the night yet, but it was like getting close. It was midnight. That was but I had confidence that I could recover. Like I could bounce back. I just needed to like, I just needed to take a half hour to like chill and let it go through my system.
So, you put together a hell of a race. You got to be proud.
Yeah, definitely proud of myself. This is my first time ever training with a coach. So I had my doubts on the training plan, essentially. I'm just like, are the things I'm doing really going to translate into a 40-hour effort? Like, I'm doing 2-hour rides most of the time, working on a lot of cadence work and like watching my heart rate and all that kind of stuff. But I was like, I haven't ridden more than 8 hours since the Divide. Well, Escape LA, if you count that. But it was very nerve-wracking to go in and being like, I've only done 4-hour rides up until this point. And so pushing past that 4-hour mark, I'm always like, okay, like what's my body going to do? When am I going to start cramping? And like, I did start cramping, but I also sweat a ton. So it's like, is it because of my fitness, or is it because I'm just sweating my ass off and losing a bunch of sodium? And like by the second day, I had no cramping, and like it was just like my body needed to get warmed up to the effort. But yeah, training had a huge impact on like how I felt during the race, and just like
I might have to give Ernie a call.
Being in shape, he's great.
I love Ernie.
I love
him so much.
Yeah, very encouraging, very supportive.
I just love his demeanor. I don't like
no bullshit.
No bullshit, and also like I think a good demeanor, like not like a fuck you, no bullshit kind of thing. I think like whenever I'm thinking about a I've never had a coach before, and I don't deserve a coach, but maybe when you're 45 and you got kids, maybe we need coaches more than other people.
I think someone could make their own training plan pretty easily. But a part of it that I like is the accountability of like checking in with Ernie on like a bi-weekly, like maybe once a month basis of just like, this is how it's going, this is how I'm feeling. I'm a little concerned that I haven't done 4-hour rides yet, but obviously, like I felt great during the ride. So, and I'm sure the longer rides will come and stuff like that. But it paid off the most in that sense of like, wow, I've been training, like working a 10-hour shift at work, going home, riding for 2 hours, eating dinner, going to bed, and like doing that a bunch since August.
Yeah.
So
what
like
an important caveat. Yeah. Kyle is not a professional ultra cyclist racer. He works a job and also you are making the trophy. You are moonlighting, making the trophies for the event.
Yeah.
So I know you were working late on that bullshit. Actually, that's not bullshit. That's
not
really
bullshit.
good
It was
shit.
awesome. Yeah.
That's really good shit. But I know it's like one extra thing on your plate.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate doing those. Those trophies, I think, have elevated the event in like a special way, you know? And really glad I was like racking my brain. I'm like, who do I know that does metalwork? And I'm like, for weeks, I'm like having this conversation. And like one day I'm like, Kyle Gilbert is a metal worker. Anyway, really glad we put those pieces together.
Me too. Yeah.
I'm glad you won one of your own trophies.
Yeah, I love it. It's I'm ready to do it again. Or make them again.
Well, I was about to say that was one of the coolest things. Like you immediately finished, and you're like within minutes of finishing, you're like, I'll be back next year to defend my record. I'm letting you know right now. It's not just letting me know, but letting everybody know.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite landscapes. Like the desert is just like very intimidating in a lot of ways, but is also like very I would say forgiving, but it's not really forgiving. It's just like
it's just worth it
being out there. Yeah. It's just like you feel so exposed and like kind of at the mercy of your own decisions.
That's what that's my favorite thing is being, and you don't get it very often. I feel it in Big Bend. I felt it on AZT, but the feeling of everything that I do matters. Like I get to test the full arsenal of what I think that I am or who I am or what I think I'm capable of. And that a lot of times comes down to good decision making. Like it doesn't matter how good of a rider you are, or how well you packed. If you don't make good decisions in the field when things really matter, then it's all for naught. And so I just love being in those positions to really find out. Because like East Texas and Central, you're not going to find. I mean, you can push yourself, but there's always going to be a house. There's going to be, a town.
There's going to be something,
There's going to be something, know. Hannah, what do you think? Coming back?
I'll drag her back.
I was going to say, I'm sure I'll start hearing about it
all
soon.
Right,
no, I don't know. I think, the only race I've ever done more than once is East Texas Showdown.
Yeah.
And I think in the midst of this, I was wondering, I'm like, do I need to keep Big Bend as like a fun zone for me? Because, I've got so many wonderful memories and experiences in that park that are not to do with the like pushing yourself racing aspect. So, I mean, in the midst of it, I definitely was like, I don't know if I need to race this again. Like, and I was thinking about Eric being out there and like providing for everyone and having a good time and partying. And also even like, Kyle and I's experience at East Texas this past year, like going and riding low down and hanging out. So I'm not sure if it's a race space for me. I'm really grateful that I did it, and it felt like good to push myself in that environment that way. And I do love the desert. It's one of my favorite places to race bikes. So I don't know. I could kind of go either way. Yeah. And, I'm saying all this, and I'm also thinking about how, like, yeah, I'd love to beat Kyle next year. Or at least, like, shave some hours off of the time between.
Kyle's like, bring it on. Let's go.
So, we'll see.
I'm nervous every time I race Hannah, by the way.
That's fair. I mean, most people should be.
She's fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so much fun to watch the dots. East Texas, who's coming to East Texas? I got Megan Hakkinen coming. I'm trying to recruit some strong riders to give her some competition. That could mix things up. I know East, it's like the route's the same. You've ridden it 5 times now. You got local course knowledge.
Home turf advantage.
Yeah.
Home turf advantage.
I already heard about this from Kyle.
Yeah, I texted her the second. I think you texted us. I was like, bro, Megan's
gonna
racing.
be there.
You gotta race.
Yeah. No, and I love racing Megan. She's so strong. And I really like this past summer in Greece. I was so excited because I was like, okay, I don't know what it'll be like. And I think, we've talked between the two of us too. We're like, we're both strong riders and we're both confident what we're doing. She's definitely got some kind of something that I don't have yet or haven't found yet. in my own kind of like race journey, as far as just like being able to put her head down and like race in the way that she does. And in Greece, I was really excited to try to figure out how to compete with that. And then I had a whole mishap and got turned around and like didn't really get a chance to do that. So I would love to race her again. Yeah, in East Texas sounds just stressful.
One more time, bro.
Because I'm
Just
like,
one more
in
time.
that situation, it really is just like who can.
It's just great.
Put it out.
Like,
yeah.
Who's putting
Yeah,
watts
put
out?
the watts
Who's
out.
testing the sleeve?
I'm like, I
Who's got-
want to race her at, like Silk Road and like really get it, because where I shine the most is in places that you have to just push
Right.
through the shit.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
All
I
right.
don't know. Kyle will keep working on it. We'll see if I can come out and race East Texas.
You think you're gonna come out,
against
Kyle?
Megan.
Yeah, I'll definitely be there. I don't know if I'll race the big 400, but I would be lying if I said racing Dennis again in another fashion wouldn't. I mean, that's attractive to me for sure.
Yeah.
If I could beat Dennis at a race he's won 3 years in a row or something, whatever it is,
Yeah.
that would be pretty sick.
I think that would be a really nice storyline.
Yeah. But
just
then
saying.
Be good
the
for the
problem
movie.
there is that
Good for the movie.
the
Yeah.
problem comes is then if I win East Texas, then I have to go to Central Texas, and then I have to go win West Texas again.
That'd be fine. You wouldn't hurt my feelings.
We'll see.
All right. Anything else before we close this thing out?
Hannah, I had a really good time racing you.
Aw, yeah, Kyle.
It was awesome.
fun.
I was looking over my shoulder the entire time.
It's always a good time.
Having y'all in the field was amazing. I mean, having everybody out there was amazing. But again, the full circle with y'all, like starting your ultra careers at East Texas, coming in 1 and 2, I couldn't have picked a better movie. So
Yeah,
It did
seriously.
feel good to finish. And I looked at Kyle and said, are we the only 2 people who've ever done that? Because Robert hadn't come in yet.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's kind of sick.
Pretty sick.
Yeah.
That's a cool feeling.
I mean,
to
so
share
we
with your
had
best friend.
I think
1 and 2?
15 start the showdown and 3 finish.
Yeah.
So
All on mountain bikes.
66% of the finishers of Showdown are sitting in front of me right now.
Let's go.
Which I love, man.
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, the series itself it's an interesting series. You have a gravel race. You have a predominantly road race with some weird gravel thrown in to keep it interesting. And then you have a full-on mountain bike race. And even within, mountain biking, you have long road stretches and nice gravel and good single track and super gnarly. So it's an interesting series, and I like it. If you do the whole thing, it's going to test like very different disciplines of the sport. And it's not going to be for everybody.
No.
But okay.
That was
That it?
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I
great.
think so.
I think so.
Congrats.
Boom.
Fuck
Thank
yeah.
you.
Boom. Podcast over.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. It is so great to be back. I had to dust off the old microphone and recorder and see if I remembered how to do this. I think it went all right. I, of course, enjoyed Kyle and Hannah. They're absolutely wonderful, and I hope you enjoyed listening to their experience at West Texas. I hope you were paying attention and you picked up on some of the things that they learned. And if you're thinking about showing up next year, they're the ones to follow, man. They're the ones that showed you how it was done. So great advice from them. Coming up on the podcast, Eric House has offered to host me for an episode, and we're going to be doing a year-end recap. I'm going to be answering some listener questions, maybe doing some deep dive on behind the scenes, what's been going on this year, and of course, looking ahead to 2026. I'm back, baby. I'm looking to get back in the swing of podcasting and really honing in on these events. And now that the series is complete, just really pouring myself into those and making them as good as they can be. And that goes samesies for the podcast. It is good to be back. Thank you so much for being here. It is always a pleasure. And until next week, you know what to do. Go ride your damn bike.
It was the middle of the night. You grabbed your knife and you held it tight. The sounds of beasts kept you awake. The sounds they made kept you afraid. In the morning, you packed your bike. Memories forgotten from the previous night. You rode faster than ever before. Was it your imagination or merely folklore? Fear turned into strength as you pushed further. Every pedal stroke stronger and firmer. Your bike feels weightless, your legs aren't tired. You think to yourself, just a few more miles. Bikes. Oh, death. Bikes.